Welcome to Game Changer Weekly. John, how are you doing this crispy Tuesday evening in Las Vegas here?
Dude, it's hot here. The internet is spotty. Just a forewarning for anyone out there. Um, Outside of that, I'm really doing well. This is going to be an exciting show. We have 3 shows to cover on a very busy weekend, so really looking forward to it. How you doing so far today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it is hot as hell here still. I try to stay inside as much as I can, but I am excited. We have 3 big shows to cover and yeah, a lot to talk about tonight. And yeah, that's we have a busy night for us ahead of us tonight.
Well, I just wanted to cover one piece of news real quick here. Cole Radrick, we just wanted to mention he was injured recently. He will be out for quite a few weeks. So we just want to wish him some well wishes. And if you go over to his page on Twitter, you will see some spots where you could buy some merch and support in any way you can. So I'm one of those people who is a huge supporter of him because he just has such a kind heart. And I would stand in his place if necessary to defend him. So wishing him all the best.
I know it's not a good week for our favorites here. A couple weeks ago, I Jordan with my favorite being hurt, and now Cole with yours. It's a broken leg, right? Is that what it was? Fractured leg?
So again, I have just a little bit of a medical background. From what I can see from what was said on the report there, it looks like that the outside of the ankle had like a fracture. So, well, you know a little bit, B. It's like, excuse me, it's like a sprain where the foot turned inwards is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It was either that or he banged his, the outside of his, ankle on something. But, without going too crazy, that's what I tore apart by what the medical,
Okay.
Little medical thing said. Great one. Here we are. Get any thunder yesterday?
Yeah,
God.
I with the rain, like the rain clouds and the thunder. I had thunder yesterday and the last couple of days. It's been kind of nice teasing of the rain, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just down the street from him. So anything he's hearing, I'm hearing. Literally just a couple miles. So yeah, you know how it is in Vegas. Honestly, it's really nice to have any type of weather outside of just sunshine. So my son and I, we like to sit out back and just kind of watch it. No shit. Then the lightning came and we went inside. We'll watch it from inside after that. But yeah, and I'm guessing he probably got some thunder up there. But yeah, any type of weather in Las Vegas is a big deal out here. And we have another one, Shayla Hayden. Nice to see you here. Welcome. We're just getting started for the night. We're going to be approaching 100 listeners here in less than 4 or 5 minutes. So we're already doing really well for the night. All right. So, you want to just go ahead and we'll kick off here and get this very large episode rolling?
Yes, our first show that we are covering is GCW Believe Me from Headliners in Louisville, Kentucky. And I know you have notes and you're muted. We're off to a great start. It's awesome.
Oh, and here we go. I was going to blame the internet on this one, but the hell with that. So, all right, so here we go. This is GCW's Believe Me. The show started 30 minutes late. So in that place, there was a supplemental video shown of the Japanese tour from last year that GCW had. Allie was marking Australia and Asia off her list. Everyone was smiling ear to ear in the video. Huge merch lines. They showed this snake in a glass jar. And then there was some ringside footage that was like fan cam style. I thought that was my favorite, especially as a 90s guy. Did you get a chance to watch that at all, Brandon? Have you ever seen that before?
I'm about to say, I think that was a new one than what we saw previous, because the one we saw previous was, I think it was like 10 minutes, maybe like 10, 15 minutes in between intermissions at one of the shows. But yeah, this one was different. I loved it. Like, I didn't really take any notes of it other than I just sat back and enjoyed it. It was cool behind the scenes coverage of that, like the whole Japan trip. Like, it made me really want to like get my passport fixed and try to head on down one of these GCW trips with them to Japan, because yeah, it just looked awesome. It was cool seeing the first ring in I forgot the name. The first ring though was cool. I always thought it was like a separate piece of like Korakuen Hall or like not Tokyo Dome. I know that's a way bigger one, but like I thought like they were just like in a little separate spot other than the ring. I didn't know it was like a whole completely different venue at a different site and everything. So that was kind of cool to see what it looked like on the outside. I wanted to see a lot more like of the behind the scenes. Like if they could somehow turn that into like an hour or whoever has that footage and put that on like the Patreon, it would be incredible. I just enjoyed seeing them. Like, as you said, you got to see Jordan and Masha having fun and enjoying themselves. And Alley Catch talking about all the cool things, seeing them come off the plane and Jimmy Lloyd and Brett. Like, it was awesome. I loved the behind the scenes version. Yeah, perfect. I'm so about to get to that. It was, what do you say here? Sundays, try something new. That was awesome. GoPro killed it. Jonathan, you guys killed it with that video. Like I said, I would watch a separate show like on Patreon just of that footage because it was cool to see all their authentic reactions.
Yeah, that whole thing was fantastic. We've been pushing for more videos during breaks, intermissions, any type of promo videos in between matches, and you guys have been knocking it out for quite a long time. And we've been doing this for 2 years, and we were going, you know what? GCW just needs that flavor. They need that bit of production to come into play. And the minute those videos started rolling in, I felt like everything was a little more important. It felt more important. The music, the high, just everything that's going on there. It was just high energy and it felt good. And so I really thought that was nice to stick with that GCW high energy feel. They really did a damn good job. And music matters. Great choice in music. Kev's bootlegs. I like that mini. You know what? Everybody's been saying that too. Uh-oh. Wrestle Dads, where's the hat, B?
That stupid thing. It's always crooked. And then the cap, when I put my headphones on, it pushes a little damn button on my head. I didn't want it tonight. That's why I was like, I'm going hatless tonight. I'm doing my hair. Yeah, that's where the hat is though. Yeah, and just to piggyback off what you're saying with the GoPro, like we were always saying, like right away when they first hopped on and we noticed GoPro was working with GCW, we started noticing like every show it still continues that this improvement here, that improvement here. The cool like audio or the cool videos in between matches to get us hyped and get ready for the next coming up shows or coming up match. Like everything they've been doing is awesome. And it's just been that was just another one excellent piece of footage there behind the scenes that we got to see. And yeah, Jonathan, GoPro, keep on killing it. It's been really cool to see.
And that opener for the show now, we have that music video type promo in the beginning of the show. Love that also.
Yes, and I know we were playing videos before the shows from GCW's YouTube. Before our shows, kind of give us a quick little minute to break, but also get the fans hyped for the shows that we're about to cover. We did have to kind of stop that because of copyright issues. Nothing on Game Changer Pro, but most just like the music stuff. They were letting us use it and stuff, but we were getting copyright strikes with this. So please, if you want to go check those out on Game Changer Wrestling's YouTube, Ivan and the GoPro and everyone else that is involved with that does amazing work. So go check those out for sure. We just won't be playing it on our show as much anymore. Muted to echo the Stoner Brothers. Deso says.
Also, I want to say Dezo's one of the folks that we've had on the show before. So nice to see you again.
What's up,
all right. So yeah, this show had a lot of young wrestling, like wrestlers having their standout nights. That's the one thing I would say. And this show was just the start of 3 wonderful nights of wrestling. This show also featured a fantastic announcing team of Dave Prazak and a rotating Nick Manoa and Carmen Michael, which they were good. I mean, you're a talking guy. I'm a talking guy that did a damn good job, right?
I have it mostly later in my notes. I think on the third shows when I kind of like took some time out to shout out everything. Yeah. Prazak did amazing on commentary all weekend. Nick Manoa too fit in really good and provided a lot of good context, especially with the local talent out there. He killed it too. I think this is one of his best performances that we've had in GCW. Nick Manoa. I will get to later in my notes exactly what I wrote, but yeah, I wrote down commentary killed it all week, bringing the emotions and the storytelling to the stories that GCW is now telling, and it was cool. It was really awesome to see.
Did you notice Headliner's reflective background in the rear? Like, could you see how everything you can see from behind? Dude, it has
I
that.
didn't notice that.
Yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. You'll see GCW like backwards in the background, and you can even see the wrestlers and everything. So when the lights are fully on, especially in the beginning of the show, you could see everything from the rear. It's kind of interesting. It's like having two
Oh, I
screens.
see it now. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So like when you're seeing promos, right? You can actually see the person talking from the back.
I didn't
Now,
notice that at all until just now. Now it's like that's all I see is that in the background.
so then Ash, since John, if you're still here, you know how you do live split screen? When someone's cutting a promo just for fun or maybe even theatrical, you should do a 90-degree cut and do a split screen of someone cutting a promo just to see what it looks like. I don't know. Anyway, the GCW intro, again, we'll go ahead and just say that was fantastic. That's what started the show. Emma was lit up in green light, and we are ready for action. So what was that first match, our opener here?
All right, first match of GCW Believe Me was Spider Nate Webb going against Shane Mercer.
All right, there's John still in here. Hell yeah. Frank, welcome, buddy. Same thing with commentary team. Did a damn good job out there. All right, so Nate Webb versus Shane Mercer. Nate ended up coming out first. I feel his entrance, or this match in particular, would have probably been better served as a mid-show musical break between action. I know we always like to start with a bang, but at the same time, this was a fan favorite too. And again, we have a sing along. I'd make that the Santana Jackson match. You know what I mean? To kind of mix it up. A match 4, 5, 6 kind of thing. But again, this is all personal preference, and I'm just being a hard ass. So what do you think?
I like it, but here we go. This is going to your first note and my first notes. This is going to show what tonight is going to what we're in store for tonight. My first note was I love seeing Nate get the opening match just to get the crowd hyped and stuff like. So I get what you're saying though. Like I didn't like that's why when you said that I'm like, yeah, that's actually a good spot for it to give them a longer bit of time, give the fans kind of like a cool little, like I just said, like kind of like a break in the show, be a part of the show and sing along. I do like that too. But I wrote in my notes like I just like seeing him get the opening match because it just kind of for me it set the tone. Like, hey, this is gonna be an indie. We're gonna kind of get like the Midwest feel here. Nate Webb's gonna be in one of the stars of the Midwest and Independence. Him getting the first match I thought was a cool way to start the show and get the energy. I thought that was cool to get the energy hyped right away too, but I liked your point. But yeah, the first notes here, we're going to be back and forth all night.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't know if I was tired or in a bad mood, but it's a rare thing. I'm the asshole tonight for sure. Like I'm bad cop tonight. I don't know what happened or why, but it just is what it is. And yeah, it's just two different schools of thought here, but we're coming to the same. Yeah, like so it's funny. We don't get to play good cop, bad cop often because we agree quite a bit. So you're going to see a very interesting 45 minutes to an hour here tonight. Yeah. Nate was also surprised he was getting boos, but this is Mercer's home territory. Shane also has only had 7 matches this year at GCW, and this is Nate's third. I feel like I've seen more Shane, but I think it's just because he was sidekicking with Blake. Does that sound right? Probably.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Also, Shane had no issue whatsoever handling Nate. I found that very interesting. The moonsault and battery, his finisher. Now, I'll just go ahead through here. Our winner was Shane Mercer with an impressive moonsault and battery on a very larger Nate Webb. I'll just stop right here because after that it goes into a video. Is there anything else you can think of with this match that you wanted to cover? Because I shortened it there with 9 minutes.
I wrote, I like Shane denying the fans of the Coast to Coast when he was about to jump off and then kind of stopped and landed on his feet and denied them. I thought that was a good heel work, especially because him now working with Blake. I enjoyed that. The Country Destroyer reversal of that moonsault and battery was awesome. I loved when Nate Webb did that. That was a very cool counter. And yeah, I wrote a great opening match by both, and it was. I was happy to see Shane get the win and get some momentum. Like I said, him being the kind of the heater to Blake in this whole storyline, I wouldn't mind seeing him kind of get some victories and being the muscle, get some momentum behind him. And after this, wherever this feud goes and everything else with Blake, I would like to see Mercer be able, like we kind of talked about that with Effie and Manders and Jimmy Lloyd, kind of all the outside pieces of this whole feud. I kind of don't want them to get lost in it. I'd like to see them kind of keep that momentum and being used on GCW TV quite frequently. So him getting the win was a good step in that direction for me. Like Russell Dad said, we need more Shane Mercer, and I agree there.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to go into this part yet or not, but I think it was show number, I don't want to say this wrong. I believe it was show number 2. We had Zilla Fatu versus Stackhouse, which was face versus face. And then after that, we had Megan Bain versus Mercer, which is, you know, gosh, words are escaping me tonight. Again, this is one of those ones, maybe I should start drinking, but both powerhouses. And I found it very interesting that GCW lately has been putting some very interesting things together, like powerhouse versus powerhouse. It's rare to see in wrestling because storyline wise, you want to see more David and Goliath, or you want to see the clash in styles like Mercer versus Speedball. So yeah, this is very interesting. And I'm all for it. I hope they work behind the scenes just for a little bit to get whatever they need to right. But I would say as dancing partners, I couldn't see two that were more capable of putting on a very good show for two very large men.
Yeah.
All right. So then after our winner, Nate Webb, had done his thing and walked out of the ring there, we had a post-match video. This was a video with two men stalking Allie and Effie. They're going through their little area there, and that's just where they cut it. It was very, very interesting. And that's all they showed also. So I'm just kind of curious. Do you have any thoughts on that video? I thought maybe, I don't know, it's I don't know, Bollywood Boys.
So after everything that's kind of transpired, that's where I was kind of heading to after this whole weekend seeing that. But going into it, when we just had the video and no debuts or anything yet, I was wondering if that was going to be like a surprise tag team debuting in GCW, but then I couldn't think of like any recent releases of a tag team that kind of got released lately to be used, and I didn't know like what other new names on the independent scene they were using there. I don't know. I felt like there was going to be a way to debut somebody and everything. But yeah, now after kind of knowing what has happened over the weekend and everything, my immediately thought was, once I saw Desi make his debut, I went to Bollywood, like, oh, that's who those two people were. They were the Bollywood Boys. And yeah, I like it. If it gives them some sort of purpose and more purpose in the GCW tag division, I'm all for it, because they've been killing it as of late. We've been talking about how good they've been doing too.
For right now, I feel like they may just be two guys in black, because it looked like just two white guys.
Yeah.
From looking at the scale, we're looking at everything, trying to figure out. I'm down to watching the walk. I'm like, do they have that wrestler's walk, which is a little bit of a, like they've had some injuries over their time. But young guys, I don't honestly know more than that, but I could see where Bollywood may fit in. But again, I hope that's not me just jumping to any conclusions. Said, yeah, well, the guys who appeared on Friday definitely weren't the Bollywood Boys, but I'm guessing they're going to, there's no way they'd probably bring in the Bollywood Boys just to put them under a mask. That's a waste of money, waste of airline ticket, waste of hotel. So,
yep. I'm thinking the same thing too.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe some ringside guys, maybe someone who, some trainees who just want to do the job. So it's not a surprise. That's that, my friend.
All right, I will announce match number 2, and then when you go into the intro, I see my cat still in here. I had no idea, and I'll let him out. Second match of the evening was Facade versus Bobby Flacco.
All right. So the first thing that had me going, especially as an 80s and 90s kid, Facade came out to the Ninja Turtles rap from Vanilla Ice. I maybe had a friend who had that on cassette tape, but we won't go that far. Fans have become more responsive to Bobby over these last couple weeks, and I love that. Both also had almost the same matching gear. One had like a neon highlighter yellow, one had more of like a neon highlighter green. I think they'd actually make a fun tag team. Both wrestlers proved to the fans they're able to carry exciting singles matches at GCW. I felt they needed this. I felt that Bobby needed to go out there outside of a tag team or outside of a scramble and go, you know what, guys, let me dance on my own. And same thing with Facade. A lot of good wrestling and wrestlers get lost in scrambles or in a high person count tag matches. So it was nice to see these two come out here and bust it out and go, you know what, we're not just this, we're also this. And that is another dimension to two very well liked performers at GCW. So for me, I really like this a lot. Now you're muted. Yeah.
Dude, God damn.
That's okay.
No, I'll piggyback off you. I wrote my first note was exactly the same thing. I was looking forward to see both get a singles opportunity, as we always see them kill it in scrambles or multi-person tag matches. It was nice being able to see them both shine in a singles match and get to see a different the psychology of each one, and instead of just the moves and bop bop bop, we got to see them play out the role. And I think they killed it. The crowd was fire for that whole match. I loved how into it they were for Bobby. And then I also wrote too, it's cool seeing, I know that's your next note, it's cool seeing Danny Moe get involved and have her do some spots in the ring. I think she provides a lot in fun style of wrestling too, where I would like to see her kind of get some more opportunities other than just being with Facade. But it seems like always every Facade match she does get involved, so it is kind of cool to see her get her moments here and there. But I would like to see her get a spot to shine in a one-on-one match. And we have seen her wrestle in GCW, just not as frequently as I think she should be or could be wrestling, and I think the fans would enjoy it. But I loved this match, and I just like from right there, the crowd was into it, and I think that was because, as you said, Bobby's just showing up everywhere, and that kind of being a cool for both of them to get the crowd reaction that they both got during the singles match.
I get Lita vibes, like Hardy Boys Lita back in the day. And I think if they kick the training wheels off her and let her do a couple of Hurricane Ranas from the top rope, I think she'd be right there. And then you have Facade in the mix, who also has a good look to him. And then you have that art side that he likes to show. I mean, that's a faceted personality there. And again, at GCW, we're very personality heavy, and that's what the fans seem to like. So kind of fits the mold in that one. Yeah, that impromptu handicap 2-on-1 match there was interesting for a minute, but our winner here ended up being Bobby Flacco with a top rope double stomp. Prazak alludes to a win streak for Bobby. I found that very interesting because, well, if you listen to Prazak, sometimes he likes to foreshadow things. So who knows? Maybe something's coming there. I know that the South is really rising in wrestling right now. Never know.
I was happy to see Bobby get the win too. I wrote, I was happy to see him get the win in this better than advertised match. Like this match, I got that it was just going to be a match in a quick little 5 minutes here and there, but no, they got some time to shine, and they shined. I was really impressed with this match.
Yeah, I respect both wrestlers. It was an even match across the board. It was an upgrade for both. Brett threw heaps of praise on him after the show ended. And I have to say, I like upgraded Bobby.
Yeah, I loved it. This was a good moment for both of them.
Agree.
All right. Our next matchup was, okay, here's why I maybe missed it. I even watched it twice, and I think I did catch on the second one, but I got to double check. Was it for the JCW World Championship? Like, didn't Dave Prazak in the middle of the match say for sure it was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm going to go to Cage Match just to see how they listed it. It's not like they're always right, but JCW title.
Oh yeah, it does. Okay, yeah, it does announce it. All right, our next match is for the JCW World Championship as Masha Slamovich goes and defends the belt against the Ratty Daddy Cole Radrick.
Oh boy, I'll just start off with my little thing ahead of time. I like the idea of this matchup, as I believe the belts at the top independent companies should be held by the top independent talent like Cole Radrick. Who else but GCW is more responsible for carrying that independent torch? This applies to death matches. If we had it, women's wrestling, tag teams, lucha, all kinds of other foreign talent. We deserve the best independent talent of all walks. 100% representation in all forms. So my question is, why aren't the titles on our GCW originals or regulars? The champ would always be on the show, which is what we have now. Having champions on other companies sounds good until that GCW champion is riding on the lower card on TV.
And you can't even use the belt.
Yeah.
That was my thing, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's a good point. I get the prestige of having a champion. Yeah, that you can see on TV, but the title never gets shown on other companies.
Sorry.
No. We're on. See, here we are. We're on the same either way. But this comes back to people like to know what they're getting in their entertainment. Our regulars are there. Belt them up. Make them the premier people who fight those recent WWE, AEW releases. You know, that's why having the Maharaja versus Effie kind of makes sense. Plus, that's the closest in size that you're going to get is someone like Effie to the Maharaj without him dwarfing someone else. So I think that also
making the brand look bad.
Yeah. So I only say that just because of continuity, just like we were talking with Jonathan here earlier about that, that music video that starts the show. You know, on Raw back in the 90s, same thing, 2000, same thing. It was that music. We all know the SmackDown music from the early 2000s. And fans like to know what they're getting. And variety is what we're looking for. And I just think we should have a lot more regulars and originals on belts more often, and more stories. And those are coming also, luckily. There were dueling chants at times, but many behind Cole. More wrestling than usual, which I felt was welcome. Cole always steps up when he's challenged fundamentally. Our winner here ended up being Masha Slamovich with a White Knight driver. Again, I'll just say I was happy to see Cole get a shot at the title. I believe this is his second one in the last couple months. So I'll give him that much. Yeah, JCW. And then I think he had a crack at did he have a crack against, oh my gosh, now I have to look it up. I was going to say Mance Warner, but I don't think he hasn't had it up against Mance Warner, had he?
I know Alec Price did for sure. Yeah, I can't remember if Cole did or not during that whole build-up. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I don't think
could have been. Was it a shot at the tag titles? I feel like he's had 2 shots recently.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the only one I could think of. Maybe it was an extreme. No, I can't even say extreme title because we haven't seen that in forever. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Frank, a lot of regulars haven't had perfect attendance recently, and yeah, not surprising there. Outside of Deathmatch Royalty and Joey and Megan Angle.
And I was about to say, I don't mind when they take like the other bookings and stuff at other companies because like they will be back. Like they're regulars. Like we call them regulars, I think, for a reason because like they might miss a show or two, but we know they're going to be back on one of these other ones. And he went to cash in. Oh, that's what it was. He was about to cash in during that gauntlet match, and then
that's right. Thank you so much, Wrestle Dads. You got to keep us honest out there.
Yes, definitely do. My big thing of this whole match, and I think it kind of overshadowed. Like I liked it. It was a good match. I was happy to see Cole get the title shot too. I was confused because she didn't have the fucking belt. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me here. Here's going to be my negative Nancy of the night. As a champion, how the fuck do you go to these shows and lose the belt and not bring the belt with you? Like, that is a giant no-no to me. Like, just as a fan, like, as a promoter, like, that right there makes me not, like, right there, like, you're losing it next time you got the belt. Like, that's just how do you not have that belt with you as a champion? And it just blows my mind. Like, I get airline issues. I get if something like that happened, that was fine. But, like, to me, like, that's what kind of, like, I had to ask you. Because legit, like when I watched this match, I couldn't remember if it was for the title because she didn't bring it out there, and I was kind of pissed. I'm like, how does a champion not bring this belt with you? So I was kind of a little mad at that, but ultimately I was happy. It was a good match. And Cole getting a crack at that title is good. I will be talking a little bit more. Well, I guess later definitely we'll be talking about Cole Radrick a little bit more here and the brass ring here. What's going to happen and what should be done with it. Sorry, I had to get on my little high horse there. Damn,
hey, it's all right.
I just know if I was champion, that's the first thing I'm fucking packing. Like, and then I'm packing my gear. Like, it just blows my mind. Like in GCW, how these belts are not being brought to these shows. Kind of. Oh, here we go. Conspiracy theory. I'm in for this.
Conspiracy time. We have 2 GCW belts because Joey's getting the belt eventually, and one is going to be the spare after they're unified. Okay, so there's a lot of we're just gonna
Brett's gonna have to start packing
get
spares.
get your friends, because we're gonna be talking tonight. All right, so if you want to try to become successful, there is a formula. And in wrestling, especially, it can be the copycat formula. There are some belts that we need to figure out. Again, Brett had talked about the extreme belt. That's just kind of hanging out there. He was very adamant about the fact that that belt was kind of around well beforehand, and it was kind of hanging around afterwards. It was never really taken as serious as they really wanted to take it. It wasn't one of the ones that was in the plans. It just happened to be there. There is a women's belt. The last one to carry it, I think, was Perazzo. Yeah, I think so. At one time we had just Allie, and there was a stretch there where that's all we had. We didn't really, but now the independent scene's lit up with female talent. And again, I'm, everything's supposed to be all even and equal, and that's fine, but we do have some shining stars. And putting a belt on one of those women and sending them around the independent scene is not exactly terrible, if that belt could be seen on their television. I believe that's because I'm in celebration of the female. There are places all around the world that they were never around to wrestle, never allowed to wrestle. And we covered that history one time on one of our shows, where in London, it was like the 60s, 70s, or 80s before a woman could wrestle in that city. So for me, it's about the celebration of the individual. And I understand they could wrestle anyone, and that's perfectly fair. But I think at any time, it doesn't hurt to have a top women's. Also, because all the other large companies that are successful do that, and they do feature them. And I think that's something that I just kind of needed to get off my chest there, is that I'm a strong believer in women's wrestling. And I do believe they shouldn't always just be thrown in with others or with men or who not. I feel like they should have a pedestal where they can say, look, here's who I am. It's taken years and decades for us to get here, and I'm celebrating my moment. But again, that's a personal opinion, and not everyone agrees with that, and that's perfectly fine. But for me, I'm saying copycat method. Let's start looking at the angles that WWE are using for cameras. Let's start looking at how they're adjusting sound. Let's look at some of these things. And again, what's wrong with it? Look at TNA. They're doing quite all right. Are they doing better in this way or that, or do they have more compelling stories? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So that's something we're thinking about. And it's, sometimes it's a matter of money too. So, I mean, you can have all kinds of, I want pyro on every entrance, but do you have money for it? You know what I mean? But yeah, here we go. Cut the extreme belt, get a women's belt. I'm all for that right now, especially since we have that extra. And I know there's always worry about having too many belts. How many do we really have on TV a weekend per show? 1, 2 defenses generally, I think, is a good average. We can have 3, but it's rare. World Championship tag.
For me, I don't even need it defended on every show. As long as it's out there in front of everybody that, hey, this is your champion of this belt. Like, that's good enough for me. Like, they could just come out and cut a promo or have a non-title like challenger match. Hey, if you win, you get the next title. Like, for the titles, I just want them to mean something to separate each one and what they mean for me. Like, I kind of always go back to, we always do, so I won't go on it too much, but the extreme ultra violent, like, I just want to know like what to, as you said, as a fan, we want to know what we're expecting to get into. I want to see it like ultra violent. I know I'm getting an ultra violent match, like extreme. I don't know what I'm getting here. World title. Now that Mance Warner's like as a champion, that's been the catch-all. It's been ultra violent. It's been non-ultra violent. He's been defending it. I'll talk way more about this later, but his title defenses have been as of late. But I just want the titles to like be separated and like mean something on their own. Yeah, I guess so. Like, and if women's like, yeah, I would bring back, as you said, the women's title too. If that's a route they want to go to, but I don't mind. Like, I've been enjoying seeing Megan Bain getting in there with Mance Warner and everybody else. Like, and I don't think that meant just has to be women versus the women and everything. Like, I love seeing Bain mixing in with these men and toss them around. It's been fun to see, but I get that's what I see. A lot of people online will say like that's what's going to have to be, and I don't think that has to be the case. If it could be however you want it to book it, it's how that belt's going to be presented. Yeah, the UV
And then
and Passport Jail.
Frank, yeah, this is my third time putting it up. I'm sorry, but it's been in Passport Jail. Yeah, you can go ahead and put the Extreme with that. So let's just look at this real quick. The GCW Extreme Championship was defended by Maki once. That was on 420 at the How High show in LA. And then you have April 6th was the last time the GCW Ultraviolent title was last defended.
Yeah,
and it was defended. Yeah, that was defended twice this year. Once on January 12th and then once on April 6th. So these are, I mean, they're throwaway titles, might be the best way to put it. These are just looking good titles. Let's be honest. We have the Extreme on Maki because it looks cute and dangerous and which feeds into her character. And I think that's a fitting thing, especially if that thing's going to sit dormant. We might as well just see that these two are basically dormant titles right now. We lived and died by, and Frank said it, and no pun intended, we kind of lived and died by that fact that we went, all right, they're going to be held on overseas hands, but unfortunately visa issues can affect overseas travel. So, you know, you have to look at the goods and bads in that one.
I still think Maki winning the title, that match, that ending seemed like something was off, like something shouldn't have happened there. Like if I remember correctly, like that was that didn't seem like she should have been winning that match, but it just kind of happened.
Reed, we love you, man. I knew exactly what you were saying. Yeah. So what's going on with those tag titles, Brent? Do you know much about that?
Was it Kevin, right? Kevin Koo said he's hurt now too. That's one that I wrote. I think later on I have it written down too, like because I saw that news. I'm like, there goes another one of our champions injured and gone. Like, what the hell? The injury bug's catching up to GCW now. And I guess we were fortunate enough to avoid that for a while. And then it's coming back. But I think now we're deep enough to fix those problems in a pretty easy manner, I think, booking wise, to keep those belts prominent. And still, these people that are injured, let's say violence is whatever, have to be stripped because they can't defend it. Like, as soon as they come back, though, now you build a story, and boom, now they're back fighting for the belts when they come back. But the GCW tag title still stay on TV and still stay relevant until they do come back. So, as unfortunate as the injuries have been, I think, like I said, GCW wrestling's in a good spot now where you could book your way out and start getting some of these names that aren't being booked as strong, start booking them stronger. Give them a little bit of exposure there and see what happens.
I don't know how much to say about this one. This is just a wild subject. I'll just leave it. I find it interesting. No, God damn it. We're going to talk about this a little bit. So if this would have been the time where Cardona should have stripped those tag team titles and slapped them on, who knows what, could have been a tournament. Again, they could have given it the same GCW world title treatment and no one would have complained. I'm not going to bitch if there's a tag team tournament. I think gonna bitch.
So I actually did recently this last week, kind of caught up to on the GCW Patreon podcast. I know like Brett's like, hey, like why is everyone talking about this tag team title tournament? Like when did I ever tease or anything? Like, I think it's something like we've kind of talked about, other people we've seen talk about online too. Is it something we would think would be cool to see? Now's the time to do so. Hang it like, hey, our titles are unfortunately can't be defended. Put 8 of our best tag teams in a tournament. Let's do a J-Cup style show and just focus the shows on the tag team. And I think that would be incredible watching a cool showcase for the tag team scene in independent wrestling right now.
I think Brett's figuring out we have thousands of listeners. I think he's kind of figuring that out now because sometimes we mention something and it'll kind of roll through and then he'll hear it and go, where the fuck did that come from? Kind of thing.
We've been talking about for months, tag title tournament.
And that's the thing. Sometimes we'll beat the piss out of it. Here's why. Okay. This was before Game Changer Weekly. I came on here and I went, why don't we have a tag team tournament? This was right after Briscoe had passed. And I said, let's call it a Reach for the Sky tag team tournament. What was it? A week later, AEW brought out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a ladder. Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
added the latter part. I think you just had the
Okay,
tournament.
there
I
we
was like,
go.
oh, and then I think I built like 3 stages of hell tournament kind of thing. Like the last stage of hell is the ladder match. I think
Yes.
that's exactly what I did. I think I did a tables match, a TLC match, and then just a straight ladder match as the ending because that was
Yeah,
all the
and
kind
then
of matches they had in AEW.
Sting was sitting up there with his baseball bat on the third page, just waiting. All right. So
Yeah, that's another thing though.
did you start this Hunter Drake and Sam Stackhouse yet, or no? I
Nope.
forgot.
Let's
Okay.
hop back into this. Yeah, we're only one show in. We're already 40 minutes in. It's all good
Oh
though. I'd say
fuck. Okay, we're
we
doing
have
it.
a thick show tonight. Lots to talk about. All right, next match was Hunter Drake versus Sam Stackhouse. And I kind of kept this nice and short too because the match was kind of short as well. But I wrote like I was hoping to see Stackhouse continue his momentum. Against Hunter Drake here, as he's been kind of building this momentum over these last couple shows and trips that GCW has had. And yeah, Hunter Drake's been improving every single time we see him as well. And I was really looking forward to this matchup. It kind of was shorter than I thought, but I think for what they were given, I think they both told a cool like David Goliath story in that match. And kind of as we were talking about earlier, both fan favorites kept the crowd hot for both of them. A lot of dueling chance and Stackhouse is one thing I noticed was Stackhouse. He looks so comfortable in the ring. You see him just moving around, smiling, enjoying himself. Like the confidence is there, and like he's not having to think about wrestling, which is always cool to see because it just clicks in for the wrestler. So I was happy to see him in there looking comfortable and confident at the end of this match.
All right. So I wrote down here first, it was an interesting matchup between two very different sized wrestlers. It's even better when the big guy is an athletic marvel. Fans also are really attaching to Sam. I keep telling people in the beginning of his music there, you can hear there is a Sam Stackhouse chant. It goes stack, house, stack. It's awesome. I'll tell you what, there's going to be a day where he's going to challenge for a championship, and it's going to sound so good when it goes off. Hunter Drake, amazing weekend. This was just the start. I'll just talk about some things other people don't see. He was selling Sam's chops directly in front of the camera. And that's something that you just have to learn over time. He was given his best against Sam's power, including an extremely high-flying and impressive performance here. But our winner on this one ended up being Sam Stackhouse. My post on this one was it was an athletic match. Both did great together. This was the best usage of 5 minutes and 20 seconds. I feel they should be proud. And again, after the match, Brett was heaping praise on both men.
Yep. I enjoyed, like you said, to get that much out of a 5-minute match was good. And I enjoyed like the spot too, where like Stackhouse chopped him and then the crowd chanted one more. And he's like, sorry, buddy, I don't want to do this, but I gotta give the fans what they want. And he chopped him. And you just see like his face like, ooh, I got him good on that one. I liked it. It was a good match. And yeah, another good performance by both of them who have been killing it lately in GCW.
And John, if you're still here, I was watching an awesome tope go through by Hunter. Same thing. If you can get a split screen with a second camera at the 90-degree angle, you'll get one hell of a good shot on a dive too. So there's all kinds of fun ways to do things. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there too. But yeah, cheat off of the WWE, cheat off of old WCW. I don't care what it is. There is a formula out there. Use whatever you can of this because it's there to be used. And sometimes success can just be a matter of choice. It doesn't always have to be money. It can sometimes just be a change of mind or perspective.
All right. Our next matchup is the one and only SRS Sean Rossap going against our own Effie. I was looking forward to this just to see. I don't know, didn't know if it was going to go past this match or if SRS just did it because it's in his backyard. And as I know, right here, one of your first things is charity. I know he does a lot of that stuff, but I was just wondering if this was going to kind of lead to something further with Sean Rossap, or maybe him bringing in somebody like Omar Haraja to come in and like. I was wondering if this would turn into a one-stop shop show or for him, or if it continue on. So that was one thing I was really looking forward to this matchup. SRS's promo at the beginning I thought was actually pretty good. Nice, simple, easy. Get the heat all on him. I liked Perch getting the call as a ref during this match, especially after the conversation we just had with him last week as well. And Sean with Jeff Jarrett on his shirt was another funny pre-match note I took as well. The less said, the better. You're muted, by the way. So
Oh
tag. You're
gosh. Yeah, my turn now. Yeah, this, as you said, was a fun
hot
match for
tag.
charity. This story was really all sizzle. A lot of it had went on Twitter, which, of course, if you're a fan, you're hearing and seeing all this. I'm hoping to see GCW get a boost from the potential exposure here. Again, that would be really nice. There's a lot of fans that SRS has, and if maybe 1% to 5% decides to watch the show, that's better than the ones before there. SRS in his Cincinnati Bengals gear. His entrance song was Hash Pipe by Weezer. Emil was announcing him as fighting behind a paywall in Lexington, Kentucky. Lots of boos for crapping on Effie on X. He also has a Jeff Jarrett shirt on. So SRS definitely was
I
here
love
for
that
the
troll.
boos. Effie then came out next. Is that Perch's blue bandana from our show the other night? I was wondering.
Interesting.
Okay, if anyone hasn't watched that show that we had with Dan Perch last weekend, we had a show and tell like we always do when someone's interviewed, and we said, hey, do you have something around you'd like to show us and tell us a story about? And he brought out a blue bandana, and he said this thing goes everywhere with him in case there's a medical need, in case there's whatever. I have it here. It travels everywhere with me. And then we found out this was a handkerchief that was given to him by Mark Briscoe before he passed away. So it was very important. So now when I see that blue handkerchief, I'm like, there's a good chance that's probably Briscoe's they got from Perch. So, all right. So in this match, there was heavy middle finger action, lots of noogie action, heavy spanking action, Effie fucking with Perch by not respecting his counts. And we also got an F-Rooney. We had SRS selling an atomic drop like it's 1985. He's hitting Jarrett's The Stroke. But in the end, our winner here was Effie with a whoopee cushion for the win. This honestly was more match than expected. It was fun with a little bit of light wrestling. Again, this was for charity, and I'm 100% always for that. What were your thoughts on this one?
I like our SRS pulling out the drop toe hold too, and then like, oh, tried it a second time, once too often on the chairs. I think psychology was cool. I liked just easy, nice, simple psychology SRS had as a heel working with Effie. Yeah, I really enjoyed Effie using the whoopee cushion as a finisher. That was funny to see. But yeah, I wrote good, fun match all around, and yeah, even for charity, that's even better. And heel SRS is always welcome for me in GCW. I enjoyed that coming to you from behind a paywall was a nice little touch as well.
You can tell he's having fun.
Exactly. He's not doing it in a way. He's not coming in shitting on here. Like he came in, he took a couple bumps, he did his wrestling, and like he's not just using it for the clout as Effie's been saying as of late. He's using it for a good purpose, and I enjoyed it as well.
He did it all for the nookie.
The noogie.
Okay, I'm out of 90s references now.
Next matchup, GCW's Believe Me, was Hoodfoot versus Jimmy Lloyd. Two things really caught my eye here. Jimmy looked kind of equal in size to Hoodfoot prior to the match when they were in there just standing next to each other, which was very surprising for me. That was I don't know. I just always imagine Hoodfoot as a bigger competitor and just kind of towering over everyone. And yeah, Jimmy was right there in size with him. So that kind of threw me off guard, but also the shape that Hoodfoot got himself into as of late. Hoodfoot looked really, really good and in shape. And so I was expecting a ultra violent match here. I didn't get all the violence that I wanted, but all the plunger definitely helped cover this match for me. And I did get a little bit of violence from both competitors.
Well, I have in my notes written down here, it was a hardcore match, lots of chairs and chair shots. We haven't seen Hoodfoot since January 13th of this year versus Joshua Bishop at 56 Birds, and we haven't seen Jimmy since last week. I wish having your opponent stand or lay in a corner while they hold a chair for your opponents would stop. I just wish I would. Like I said, I'm the cranky ass tonight. If you have to hold a chair in front of your face and you can count to 3, just drop the fucking chair and move on. I'm just saying it. It looks shitty. If someone puts a chair and you have to hold the chair or the light tubes to your chest while some asshole runs for 4 seconds and then hits you, you deserve to get hit. Maybe just throw it off you or hit them with it. But there's been a couple things in wrestling and I'm like, you know what? If we could just stop that because it looks like shit.
No
So
one,
I just wanted to mention it in this match.
No one, please
Send it
send
to
John
me.
the clip. Don't send John the clip of Cody doing the leap in knee from SmackDown this week. He did it. He threw the chair to Austin Theory. Like Austin's facing this way. Cody starts running this way. Austin's like, "Oh, look, a chair."
Oh no, I lost you, sir. Check your cord in the back there. You must have hit your microphone. All right. So Jimmy put Hoodfoot through a door bridge. Hoodfoot answers by putting Jimmy through a chair head first. It collapses the chair. Hoodfoot hits a lariat, then a backdrop driver for the win. Our winner in this one was Hoodfoot. About 8.5 minutes long on this one. And I just wrote down average. I'm just being honest here. I didn't want to go anything more than that. This wasn't, nobody was coming off the top ropes. Nobody was running. Nobody was doing anything more than slinging shit at each other. And that's what we got here.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you now.
Okay, good. No, I enjoyed it. I was expecting and hoping for a little bit more violence, but I was happy with at least all the plunder we got during this match as well.
Yeah, Reed said it here too. Yeah, Mo is not very tall. You know who got my wife on the height thing was Too Cold Scorpio. When he walked by, she went, "Oh my God, he's so little." And I went, you know, he's not little, but he's below an average size guy. And she's like, "I did not know," because on TV they make them look so large.
I was about to say,
Hoodfoot.
Yeah, Hoodfoot looked in really good shape with the weight, but like, yeah, I was expecting just him just not towering over Jimmy, but them being equal size kind of like totally threw my like brain off of here. And now with Hoodfoot, but yeah, Hoodfoot's awesome. I'm glad he's had this weekend. He killed it this weekend, and I hopefully he does come back in GCW a little bit more often and help kind of revive the ultra violent scene that I think desperately needs some reviving right now in GCW.
Let's see here. I was wanting to look at something real quick. I was trying to figure out when that Slade match was. I thought it was this year. It was last year.
No, the Hoodfoot Slade match, that was 2 years ago when we started. It was the night before the 4th of July show.
What?
Have we been doing it this long? In my head. Yeah, 2 years.
Holy shit. Okay. Well, yeah. There's like 1,600 matches in this head, so who the hell knows? That's all I have to say, man. I just put it as an average match.
All right, our next matchup was Billy Starks going against Rachel Armstrong. Kind of going off of the titles that we were talking about earlier. I thought it was cool that she was able to bring the World Ring of Honor Women's Television title on camera, which I think does an excellent job of everything that we were talking about, promoting Ring of Honor, promoting her as a champion and hyping her up and making her a bigger deal in GCW. That's the first thing I wrote. I enjoyed seeing her bring the title with her. And I was really looking forward to this match because I've seen a little bit of clips of Rachel Armstrong. I never really seen a full match, so this was really the first full match I've seen her in. And I know a couple months ago she was getting some high praise, so I was really looking forward to this match because if anybody's going to have a good match with Rachel, and if there's one person I want to see Rachel go against in GCW that I think we're going to see the best Rachel, it's going to be against Billy Starks, and that's what I was really hoping to see during this match. I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of Rachel. From what I saw, it seemed like she was kind of overexcited about everything. I don't want to say nerves got to her or anything, but like it just didn't seem like the best possible match that we got from her during this. But the times that she had to kind of shine and did a good job of shining, I want to see more of that in the future. GCW, just not the best match that I was expecting heading into this one.
My notes say big welcome home chance to Billy Stark. She walks out with her ROH belt over her shoulder, as you were mentioning there. Billy turned heel mid-match just for fun. I enjoyed that. Quickly, I put our winner here is Billy Starks. I put down this was not the best match. It was messy. I felt that did more harm than good to both wrestlers, and it was forgettable. That's the most dickish I've been, I think, in 2 years. But I'm just being honest. There wasn't much to it. I saw so many things go wrong that I just don't think that it would be fair for me to tell the truth and say that I saw anything good or redeeming because there was nothing there. One looked green and the other just was doing her best, I think. But I've seen better from both, honestly.
Yeah. And like I said, I that wasn't the Rachel I wanted to see. Like I said, I feel like her body, like she was just trying to do so much in the time that she was given. She was just trying to just a little bit too hard, and like her body just wasn't able to catch up and keep like keep the momentum, keep like your nerves in check. That's what I kind of was figuring out. And I get it. Like, hey, like I said, I haven't seen much of her, but I know she was on a tear there for a while. And finally seeing her in GCW, it's cool to see her get, as Reed's here saying, a bigger stage and more time. I do want to see her kind of get up there. But this match, as for my first match, I was like, yeah, let's give her another time and let her kind of calm down here. Like, it's a first match hiccups and nerves is kind of what I attributed this match to.
And bad nights happen too. Might have just found out that some relative has passed away, might have just had some bad news on their job, might have just went through a breakup, might have a bum knee that we don't know about that's affecting everything that's going on, including lifting of an individual. So we don't honestly know. All that we know is this one probably wasn't the best representation of either wrestler. And when we had further went into the weekend, I think things did improve. At least for Rachel, we saw for sure.
Yeah. All right. Our next matchup is a tag team match, as it is. Oh, I'm going to mess this up here just because of Nick Manuel. One called Manders with Too Tough Tony going against the Rejects, Reed Bentley and John Wayne Murdoch. I think I have some similar notes. I don't want to cut you off again.
No, you're good, man. Manders and Tony come out to Tony's music. He's pouring drinks down the fan's throat, and I am really smiling again. The Rejects gained heat by saying they're leaving. They don't want to fight. This was my kind of a fight. It was redneck on redneck violence. The lighting changed when this match started. I feel like the venue may be giving the lighting person some issues. Manders was put through a door. Perch got a "fuck you ref" chant for not catching the fake tag from the Rejects. They then switched it back again. I don't know if they were fucking with Perch for real or if they were fucking with Perch for fun, but Perch didn't catch it, and I thought that was hilarious. Then at some point, Perch did stand up for himself by pushing down Murdoch, and the fans loved that. Murdoch superplexed through a door. Tony hits a flipping leg drop, then a lion salt. Our winners here was one called Manders and Too Tough Tony with a flaming fist to Murdoch's face. Okay, let's stop right there. I had a fucking blast, and I haven't seen Too Tough Tony, I think, since one of the old Juggalo Championship wrestling shows, like at the Gathering.
See, I haven't even seen too much of Too Tough Tony ever. Like, the name's familiar. If I had to pick him out of lineup, I might have been able to do so before this match. So
yeah,
I didn't know what to expect. I kind of, with the Rejects and with it being deep
so
south.
Fun.
Yeah, so here we go. Like, this match, as you said, I loved it. This was, for me, one of the best matchups of the whole weekend. I wrote, loved at the beginning when they were coming out, Prazak did a great recall of how this match came about from one of the previous shows that happened earlier this year with Too Tough Tony having a run in with the Rejects. I loved that recall back because I totally, as this match was happening, I had no idea why it was coming about. And Prazak mentioned that. I immediately went to my recall and had just envisioned the whole encounter that Too Tough Tony and the Rejects had back when they had the first one to set up this match. So I just loved Prazak mentioning that one. Tony running into the ring post at the beginning of the match after pouring all the beers in. I was dying laughing, like, oh shit, this dude's already drunk before he got in the ring. This is not going to be good. And then Prazak even mentioned oh, that damn ring post getting in Too Tough Tony's way. I loved it. Nick Manuel making a one called Manders and a Too Tough Tony looking for the 3 count for the victory pun. I enjoyed that piece of commentary as well. I found it hysterical. And throughout this whole match, I loved the old school Deep South feel this match had, mixed in with some GCW violence. I thought was the perfect style match for this Kentucky crowd. They ate it up. That Kentucky crowd was hot all night. I loved it. Too Tough Tony with the flipping coast to coast was awesome and amazing. And then I wrote I didn't see what he lit up at first at the end, but I was like, flaming something at the end. That was cool. We got some fucking fire out of nowhere. This match had no reason being as awesome as it was, but it just fulfilled everything for me in a GCW match. I loved it. I even wrote down after the flaming something, I wrote, what the fuck was this match? What the hell did I see? That was awesome. I wrote good luck following that one. Too Tough Tony at the end didn't even look gassed, in my opinion. He looked like he was in high five with them. He looked fine. He was ready to go longer. And I think Brett asked if we should have Too Tough Tony back in GCW. Fuck yes, that was awesome. Like, bravo, chef's kiss. Following that, and I'll just piggyback off there. At this point, I wrote, the whole show in general leading up to this main event was awesome. The match placements, commentary, matchups, the results, the crowd all night, the referees and the matches that they got to referee and how they handled that. The venue, A+ show. Bravo, Brett, and everyone involved. I was hyped at this show going into the main event. That Too Tough Tony match, like, I don't get like that watching some of these matchups. Like, I think the last time I felt like this was when John Wayne Murdoch and Mansoor had that crazy bloodbath in front of however many people in that small little venue I always kind of talk about, that had no place in business being as ultra violent and crazy as it was. This match for me was right up there, and I left it with obviously a big giant smile on my face. Too Tough Tony comeback.
I realize no one is posing on hard cam when they walk by it on the ramp. You know how usually the wrestlers would walk back to the ramp and there's always that camera right there, and like Sawyer would pose or something. By the way, Sawyer will be back soon, I hope. They're already out there wrestling, so we'll see how that goes. But I always loved when someone would go out there and like pose on the way back. I love anything that shows personality. Yeah, on Too Tough Tony, I was more entertained by something fun and fresh. I felt like it was needed. It was something different. Coming out to a crowd full of adults and pouring shots is just cool as hell. Yeah, the minute I heard the music, drink it on down, I went, oh my God, that's Too Tough Tony. And then when it's hard to find, but you can watch some old Juggalo Championship wrestling, like specifically the ones at the gatherings that they have, has some pretty interesting wrestling out there. They have a zombie that wrestles, and I mean, it's a zombie, and like all of a sudden out of nowhere you'll see he'll do something like a DDT, and then all of a sudden the DDT is what won it. Like,
oh wow,
oh dude, okay, we're not going to get too far into it because already an hour into the show. I agree with you. He'd be a fun addition sometime soon. So we hope to maybe see him again, because we'll be honest with you, he brings a fun atmosphere with him. And I think that is the entire point of a GCW show live, is to have a good atmosphere. He brings that with him. And I think that's, if your crowd is dead, send him out.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like.
Like I said, I did not expect, especially when I saw him bumping into the ring before the match even started. I thought, oh shit, we got this drunk guy just coming in for a check here. This is not going to be good, but fuck, he killed it, man. Like, I'm going to do the best thing in that match took place in 19. And he said, oh, I misread it the first time. The best thing in that match. Okay, what is the best thing in that match took place in 1987? I misread it the first time. I thought he wrote that this is the best match in the venue since 1987. Like, I just loved it. Like I said, this was old school GCW vibes that I got here, and I enjoyed everything.
Reed is frantically typing right now.
I want to know what the best thing in that match took place in 1987. Oh man, yeah. All right, so after all that craziness, I now still get to one of the matches I was looking forward to all weekend. The main event is the GCW, one of the champions, Mance Warner, and I'm going to call this right now. I hate Blake. I hope you ain't listening right now. I have a new world champion after this week, man. Mance Warner is my world champion this weekend. I will talk about that later, but Mance Warner defending the GCW world title against Myron Reed. I was so happy that Myron, I have no idea why.
Reed is definitely a GCW fan through and through. I have no idea where I am anymore. My wife sent me here and told me I have to broadcast. So, you've seen me forget fucking shit all day long. So
just stay,
welcome to the club.
Reading the teleprompter. That's all. Don't go off the teleprompter. We can't do that. I was happy. I thought this was the best decision to have Myron get the title shot in Kentucky, especially as well as he has taken to GCW, and the GCW fans seem to have taken him into enjoying him and wanted him to be on more shows. I thought this was cool for him. At the beginning, I enjoyed seeing all the referees out just during Mance's entrance, just in case he snaps on the crowd. I love how they have like all hands on deck. It just brings more violent credibility to the Mance Warner character, which is, I think, been awesome to see. And especially with this crowd, as hot as they were, and as as hot as they've been against Mance Warner, just in general, since Mance has joined Deathmatch Royalty. The heat is everywhere, and this was another match where he just was in the crowd's faces, and I think the referees being out there added realism to it, which I enjoy.
Uh-huh. Well, you know what? I'll just cover that part right now. It's nice to have the referees out there for a bunch of reasons. Number one, it gives us a, let me turn my sound up here a little bit. It gives the fans a little bit of a level of safety because they want to talk shit. It also gives Mance a little level of safety. It gives Brett a little level of safety because there's someone down there on the floor going, okay, I seen everything. So that also helps too. Having someone hold Mance back while Mance is doing that also implies a dangerousness that it's an extra level of, of look that I think is
He's
great.
bringing like the loose
For me,
cannon. Like for me, it's like that little
yes.
loose cannon in him there, which is awesome, especially in a GCW, ECW environment. That is like the key now. You just never know when he's going to snap on everybody.
Oh, no, exactly. All right. So Max Recon was out for the main event. I thought that was cool. We don't get to see Max in the main event very often. So Mance said he almost wasn't allowed to fight in Kentucky tonight. He'd start too many riots. He said GM Matt Cardona made the call and he's cleared to fight here tonight. Out next, fighting out of Louisville, Kentucky, Myron Reed. He was first seen at GCW on June 20th, 2020 at the World on GCW Part 2 in a great match versus Blake Christian. He's a great wrestler. I need to see his personality come out more. I'm going to stop right there. That's the only thing I feel like that Myron is missing to put him over the top in my mind. I just need to see his personality. Again, GCW is a personality company. I feel like he's got a lot of everything else. He's just missing him. That.
See, for me, being a fan of his for a little bit of his time before GCW. So when I first became a fan of him and Jordan as Injustice, Myron was like, seemed like the happy-go-lucky one. He was just in the background dancing, vibing. He's just chilling, wrestling, and everything. But since he's been on like the singles run and like he kind of put on some muscle mass and like this gear's still the same, but like in his in-ring still the same. I think he's turned his character into this like switch. He turned on the switch to be more serious and be kind of more of a killer, be more of a killer mentality is where I'm getting from him in a kind of character way, because I am used to him dancing and having fun, but now we're getting this like focused, serious Myron Reed. And I think for me, that's kind of cool. He's showing the fans, like I said, fans like me, a different kind of side of his character where he's taking this shit seriously. He's making turning his body into all the muscles to get the heavyweight championships at these promotions. I think he's like turned it into a more serious version of him. And I think that's where maybe you're not getting the personality. Where if you go watch some of his stuff before his GCW run, you can see a little bit more of his bubbly personality and the vibes that he gets. But now I think he just turns it seriously as a singles competitor, for me, describing him as a character.
So he's playing tough right now.
I think he's like being like focused Myron Reed of, hey, I got like, this is my time. Like, it's like, he's the young goat. Like, that's what he's calling himself. I think he's like, it's his turn. This is his time to take him seriously as a singles competitor, from what I gather and how I'm taking his character kind of change or evolution.
Yeah. And see, half of that I wouldn't have known without having someone who knows, the character before.
It's not a giant switch. It's just a little, like I said, a little focus switch. But I think that's what's kind of holding you back. And like, as you said, you're not getting the personality feel, where I think if he was coming out like that, you might feel a little bit more different.
Dude, I'd pair him up with Jordan in a heartbeat again. I'd give him his happy personality back, or I'd make them both assholes. Either or, I think it would be great. Yeah, Myron came out with a relentless aerial attack fed by his athleticism. Mance fought back, then eventually snapped, and out come the weapons, chairs, doors. It didn't matter. Mance worked one of Reed's legs with a chair to ground his offense. Reed answers with a dive off the stage. Reed kept with that injury throughout the match. Mance went through a door. Mance eventually hits a superplex through a door bridge. Reed kicks out at 2. We have new champ chants coming throughout this match from the crowd. Reed hit that huge cutter through doors and through 2 doors. Mance kicks out at 2. Our winner in the end, though, after a 24-minute main event, was Mance Warner with double lariats and a DDT. This is where I'll stop right here and let you know this weekend, but overall, Mance is averaging over 20 minutes a match. And my last note, I'll just say, great job, Myron. Absolutely wonderful work.
Yeah, like I said, I will piggyback on that Mance talk a lot later. I think probably at the end, I kind of do want to encompass everything Mance did and has been doing as champion lately. Um, yeah, I wrote from this match to the dive that Myron did off of the stage, and then the cutter to the outside was crazy. I wrote this was his night, man. The crowd was behind him. It felt like, hey, this. Ultimately, if I had to bet my whole house, I'm betting he's losing. But like, man, the crowd and the believability of there was no like any story going on with Mance, and this was just a straight singles title defense, I probably would have been a little bit more favorable and like thinking that he was going to lose. But the crowd, he had the crowd good behind him, very good, and then also Mance just had the heat on that crowd too to make them believe that Myron was the guy that's going to dethrone him, and that's just good. He's been doing such great heel work, and him like crying like to the crowd, like I'm sorry, I'm like I've been loving that. Like he's getting his comeuppance. He's like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Like he's been killing it, but Myron killed it this night. This was his night, his championship match, and I think he shined and showed you what he can do as a singles competitor in GCW. And yeah, if there was not like an extreme / ultra violent like that JCW, if it was like just stuck to like wrestling and given a little bit higher elevation of the titles in GCW's kind of hierarchy of where I thought it was going to be, I would put Myron as a JCW world title holder and have him put on these great classical regular wrestling matches to elevate that JCW title.
So I think I have the ultimate ending to the Effie and Mance feud. I'm thinking, what about a lumberjack match between the two? You'd have deathmatch royalty out there. You could have a ton of GCW wrestlers out there. You could have some real trouble on the outside of that ring as the fight's going on the inside. And then all those people that Mance has been fucking over is going to be ringside too. Now we have a fight for the ringside.
That's my thing. The whole however he loses this, it has to involve Mance, like all the GCW people that he screwed over coming out. And as I just go that face that he did in the ring, like he's taking the pizza cutter, like he's just crying out to the crowd, like I'm sorry, like him getting his comeuppance and like losing the belt that way of having to go through everybody that he screwed over. And then he loses that belt is, I think, and him like leaving crying, like I think it's going to be awesome. And I think it'd be perfect for what everything he's been doing as of late. Yeah, the lumberjack would be a good one of having to face your comeuppance right away in front of everybody.
Just sounds like a fun thing to do. And I think that's going to be the perfect way to end it in the end, is that the bad guy really does get his. So
yeah.
That's all I have to say, sir.
That was GCW's Believe Me. And yeah, that was a plus show for me. I was stoked and happy. And yeah, I was actually kind of worried if the next 2 nights would keep up. And luckily for me, it did, in my opinion. All right. Our next show now of that GCW Midwest trip is GCW So High from Pop's Nightclub in Chazy, Illinois. And I will let you kind of do your first thing before I get into my notes as well. Yeah, I have to delete half my notes here.
Yeah, so this is where a computer outage caused travel delays for a lot of the talent. Janela, Danhausen, Masha, and she couldn't make the show because of flight issues. Gage was injured. However, Brett's improvisational skills are off the chart, and he has a great roster to work with. And he delivered in this one. This opening is a great example of needing more of the crowd noise. If you go back to the beginning of this show and you listen, you can hear that the crowd noise is minimal. If that could be pumped up, that could make a huge difference. Emil then welcomes us to Pops, and we are ready to roll in Chazy, Illinois. It's just fun to say. I think my fat ass thinks sausage.
I was about to say, I was going to leave it Chazy to you because I hate announcing that. All right. So I wrote before the show started. I forgot how good Pops looked. Pops looked really good when it came up on the screen. I felt bad for all the talent, and I felt bad for Brett for all the travel issues that they had to go. But once he kind of tweeted out that it's going to be a good show, keep an eye out for it. He doesn't do that often, and I think and that's what's really cool about Brett when he realized, hey, like the fans are not going to be getting what they paid for. I have to come up with something to earn their trust to make them come back the next time with this talent. And
Mhm.
he usually goes above and beyond to make sure that show goes off without a hitch. And this was definitely one of those ones. I was like, once I saw that tweet, I'm like, yeah, something's big's gonna happen tonight. Brett always has his word and makes up for it, does good by his word when he announces something like this. So I was really looking forward to it. I thought it was gonna be a good one. I had a feeling what might happen, just probably like a lot of other people did as well. And it did happen later on in the show, but I thought it was a cool way to make up for all the issues that Brett had going into the show. And then I have
And
like I have a
issues
whole
we had
storyline
indeed.
written.
Dude, it was fucking crazy. Everything got shut down. I think they said Janela was in an airport for 19 straight hours. It was just chaos everywhere. And that's what happens when I guess you do an update. A lot of blue
Yeah.
screens.
Yeah, that was a lot of issues everywhere. That kind of sucked seeing all that stuff. I feel bad. Like that's when you realize like, oh shit, some of these things that wrestlers have to go through, and the airports being one of them, and the airlines and travel issues. That's I felt really bad for them missing some paydays.
Oh, yeah. If I was wrestling, I'll tell you what, there'd probably be days where I'd be sitting on an airline going, is this 15 hours worth of travel worth 10, 15 minutes in the ring? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
sometimes
Yep.
I see these guys in pain and I'm like, damn, you're tougher than me.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
All right. The first match of GCW So High was a tag team match as Los Desperados went against Bang and Matthews. I loved it seeing Bang and Matthews get an opening match. They seem to kind of always have the opening match, or one of the opening matches as of late, and they do good of getting the crowd into it and setting the tone for the show. I thought it was an awesome tag match on paper, and I knew it was going to deliver. As part of a spectacular show as Brett wanted to make it. And I thought this delivered. The pacing was awesome. Desperados get creative with another creative tag team at Bang Bros, and they delivered. The Bang Bros have been awesome in the tag division as of late, and I wouldn't mind seeing them kind of keep on getting pushed more and more to hopefully see what happens now, especially with the GCW tag titles.
I'll just mention this right here. Fire J Media. Nice to see you, Ivan. I enjoyed the new hard cam angle for Pops. I personally liked it more than the previous shows. Did you notice there was a different angle there?
No, to
Yeah.
be honest, yeah, I didn't notice it. I'll see right
Yeah.
now.
For me, it looked like a different Pops. I'm with Ivan here. I really did like the change. I'd love to know what made them make the change. You know what I mean? Because sometimes this happens. I think they had, I'm trying to think of the name, Gillies. They also made a change on the camera angle, and it can really change the look and feel of a show. So, yeah, one day maybe in Patreon or something, I'll ask, okay, what made you change
Oh,
that? Because the whole feel can be different. What you
I
looking
don't
at?
know. No,
You're
I'm
checking
actually
out
looking at it.
Pops?
Yeah, the hard cam and stuff. That's why I was like, it kind of feels like it's the same. I don't know. I have to go back and watch the other ones, I guess.
All right. So the Desperados were out first. They missed the hard cam by 90 degrees, maybe on purpose, maybe not. Prazak says they might be champions one day. I think that's very possible. And again, Prazak knows his shit and he likes to foreshadow. Bang and Matthews were out next. They're sniffing smelling salts during their entrance. Why? I don't know. They're getting boos from the St. Louis crowd. That's normal for them. So I'm going to stop right there. You had to, I know you want to say something.
The smelling salts got me too. I was like, that has to be smelling salts, but like they seemed like they came out like he had to hide it. It seemed like at first I was like, wait, was that smelling? Like I was confused too when I caught that. I'm like, I don't know why they're so worried about hiding the smelling salts. It just wakes you the fuck up and realize like where the hell like
Yeah.
just and hides you. But like the way they hit it so fast, it was like, what was that?
Could
Like
be.
what was going on there?
What is that, boys? Anyway, everyone in this match is from Chicago except for Ares, who's from Mexico City. It's as
Oh.
athletic of a match as you'd expect. Lots of tag team innovation between both teams. Desperado pulled off the Spears Tower double DDT. That's something they pulled off the last time they were up against Bang and Matthews. I do like that variation. Bang and Matthews also took a lot of punishment. I cannot stress that enough. Our winners here, Los Desperados with a turnaround bomb into a double foot stomp. 13-minute match. I think it was fantastic. Again, seeing Bang and Matthews mesh with the lucha style and doing it smoothly is also a nice upgrade to see. So I think that's where I stand on this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good tag match by both. I love like just the creativity of both teams and seeing them kind of interact with each other. I always am looking forward to the reversals and everything like that. So I enjoyed this match. I love obviously both teams. I now just did see the difference of the stage. Yeah, usually before the hard cam was not facing the stage; it was facing like the dance area of of the. I see it now, and I felt I don't know. I actually kind of like the old one too. So I don't know. I'm not
Uh-oh.
that stuff doesn't. I don't think about and care that should have like whatever one it worked out looked, but they both look good to me. Like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to spend time on that.
I love it.
Our next matchup, as my screen goes back, there we go, is a hardcore match as the one called Manders goes against Broski Jimmy. It was another short match. I kind of have short notes too. Like I love the matchup. I was hoping to see a good amount of violence. Once again, I didn't get the glass and all that stuff I wanted to, but I was still happy to see them both in a prominent role still on the show and being given a one-on-one spotlight match. I was happy for both of them, and they delivered a good match for being an extreme / hardcore one.
So yeah, Jimmy, Broski Jimmy was out first. He told Manders that SGC abandoned him. I thought that was a nasty little thing to say. Manders was getting some good fan participation. They were singing along to Bon Jovi. He's another one. I feel like he's really picking up steam.
Yep.
And good booking will allow him to do what he needs to do. He's a good, strong man. And if you need him in a position as a Haas, he can do that also. I like the mustache too. He's got that 1800s cowboy movie looking like Johnny Ringo from Tombstone. Mostly chairs were used in this match. Manders ate a couple nasty chair shots. I'll just keep it short. Our winner in this one was one called Manders with a nasty lariat, where he picks up Jimmy and power slams him through a door propped into the corner for 3. This was only a 6.5 minute match, so nobody kill us on the notes here. It was just very short, and I felt like the shit talking in the beginning was worth more talking about than really kind of the swinging of the chairs. So
yeah, and like I said, kind of focused on Manders, which I was happy to see instead of always having to focus on SGC or Bussy or all this stuff that he's involved with. I enjoyed the focus being on him for this match.
I love that boy, dude. Fuck
yeah,
it. I'll just
Manders
say it right now.
awesome.
He's kicking ass. Manders is kicking ass. And for someone who just had to deal with an SGC breakup, that's really difficult to sit there and go, okay, I had a very successful tag team. Now I'm on my own. Where do I go? And I can tell you that it's sink or swim, and he's swimming, man. And I think he does a damn good job. Sorry, I had to get that out.
No, I 100% agree with everything you said there. Yeah, he deserves even more than what he's been kind of doing right now. We've been shouting his name for a while. Third matchup was Galeno Del Mal versus Jack Cartwheel. I know they announced for Galeno for more future shows, so I was really happy with that when I saw that announcement, and I thought this was a big match for both. I think Jack Cartwheel's been killing it as of late, and then now being in this match with Galeno Del Mal, another big luchador. I thought that would be a good, perfect opponent for him. And Jack actually showcased more of a power set in this match than we usually see from him, which I enjoyed seeing. He didn't have to just run around and do cartwheels and run away from Galeno Del Mal. He tried matching him power for power, which being the football player that Jack was in college, I enjoyed seeing that intensity out of him.
And I won't lie, Jack sold his ass off in this match. He pulled off some great moves too. Beautiful Dragon Rana. Galeno was physical as he should be. I want to see him challenge for a title if he's going to stick around for a while, because he's that imposing kind of guy that feels like could be a true threat to the title again if he's booked properly. I'll say it 100 times. It's one thing to have a hoss. It's another when the hoss is athletically gifted. This guy is big and he can move. The younger years in some hosses' careers can be like this. Andre the Giant even has some much quicker matches out there than most would know, but you have to dig to find that stuff. Jack finally hits a huge suplex that he sold having difficulty with the whole match. Things look good for Jack turning around in the match, but Galeno was just too much for him. Our winner here, Galeno Del Mar, with a twisting finisher that had me say, what the fuck out loud. I'm really good with learning moves. I have no idea what it's called, but what the fuck? I can't wait to see it again.
Is that the one like the double? He's like the double underhook from the second rope and then flipped him. Is that what the finisher was in this match? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what it's called either, but it looks impressive. And Jack Cartwheel was like the perfect opponent to take that too. He the way he contorts his body and sells it, bouncing off the mat was a good one.
And Jack's also changing his body. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a little less muscle mass, and I think he's leaning down some. I'm curious to see what that'll do for him, because usually that extra muscle can kind of slow down the flips, and it can kind of limit the mobility. So I think dropping some of that might be really cool. We'll see what happens.
As long as he doesn't lose any explosiveness, I think that his leg power for those cartwheels and everything else does a lot for his moveset and like the strength and explosiveness of just him in general. As long as he doesn't lose that, yeah, I'm all for him, because he does look like he's getting in. Looks like the offensive lineman, you know, when they're in football, then they get out of football, they become like skinny, like they're able to not have to keep 300 pounds on. I think that's where Jack's at now. He's not having to keep the football weight on for muscle.
Yeah.
He's losing it while defining it better to use it better for wrestling, which I think is perfect for him right now.
And just like Manders, that leg strength gives him a strong base. If someone was going to have me, you know, if they were going to have me up over their head, those are two guys that would have a better chance than some. I know Jack may have a little trouble with me, but I also have seen Jack lift my weight and then some above his head. So, you know, who knows? That is all I have to say about that one, sir.
Righty here. Yeah, I was happy too. Galeno Del Mar with another win. I think these wins piling up here is a good sign for future use in GCW. I gotta find my duck that I got at the collective. I forgot who threw it out there.
This is a stress toy, dude.
Mesa Guerra.
This is one of those stress toys. Yeah, look. Boop. Anyway, $5.99. I got it at like Cracker Barrel or some shit. All right, so back to wrestling, boys and girls. We just went into nowhere land.
Our next matchup was Sam Stackhouse going against Zilla Fatu. Once again, another matchup right up my alley. I've been loving both of them. Both of them been on a good roll. I was interested to see like who would get the win, especially I was kind of assuming Zilla would, but just based off the momentum that Stackhouse has been doing as of late, it was a good match for two guys with a lot of momentum behind them and win streaks, and see what happens here. And I enjoyed it. It was Zilla looked really good with Stackhouse. So we've seen a lot of now Zilla matches, not a lot, but like in GCW, he's wrestling all these different styles of competitors and death matches, and now Stackhouse, and he's just excelling in every single match. And this was just a different style of matchup for him. And I think he looked really good and powerful in this, and Stackhouse made him look really good as well.
Yeah, Zilla's just killing it out there with, I think, still less than 20 matches to his name. Sam was out. He got that smile that he can't hide. I also like his purple shirt a lot. That guy is genuinely happy. And what I mean by that is when he's getting cheers right now, he's genuinely enjoying it. You know, a lot of wrestlers out there go on for weeks, years, months, whatever, sometimes a decade or two before they get any of the type of recognition that they really feel like makes them complete or happy. And Sam really does appreciate every single fan that claps for him, you know, chants his name. So I just wanted to put that out there, though. It's just a genuinely good guy, and I just want to go to bat for him too, because I think he's awesome. I'm just going to be honest on this one, an awkward match booking wise, as we have two popular faces going at it. So I don't know about this one. Neither man wins anything from beating the other face, and someone loses stock as a face. So first thing I said they should have done here was probably shake hands. That's just the one thing that kind of nullifies the booking in the fans' heads, you know, kind of thing. There was a raising of hands and a hug at the end, so that was there. But when I was writing my notes, I'm like, we might need a handshake here because you're going to split the fans between two very popular wrestlers. Sam with a nasty Samoan drop on Zilla. Zilla landed a little awkwardly, which again is kind of weird since that's a Fatu move. Stackhouse is out there bouncing titties early in the match. I appreciated that. A door comes out. Moments later, Zilla spears Sam through that door. Sam with a huge black hole slam, shout out to Abyss. Our winner here, Zilla Fatu with the Samoan spike for 3. A very busy and quick 10-minute match between these two.
See, here's what I have to not counteract you, but I kind of wrote in my notes too at the end. I don't think either of them lost from this match. I wrote that I think both came out better after this match, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, in the fans' eyes, someone wins, someone loses, someone's obviously going to go higher than the other. But for me, I think like Sam Stackhouse just used this as another piece and keeping his momentum going and using this loss, and I think that's just further going to get the fans behind him at these future shows coming up here.
And again, two different ways of thinking. That's awesome.
I get what you're saying too, but it's just funny. In my notes, I wrote the opposite.
Yeah. And again, I see your point too. So that makes sense a lot.
Yeah.
We shouldn't get along this well at this point. We should be like, fuck that. Fuck that.
We have put a behind the scenes of what happens after the podcast is over.
Oh yeah. The fist fight, the meme war.
All right. Another matchup, and the next matchup, I was really, really excited when they first announced it a couple weeks ago. Sydney Akeem going against Myron Reed. Anytime I can see either, I'm excited. And throughout this matchup, I got some notes kind of going on during this matchup, but I'll piggyback off of you.
All righty. Sydney with the taped promo before the match. I thought that was a nice touch. Prazak said this is his first time fighting in his hometown. I'm almost wondering, did Sydney train in another city? Anyway, Myron was the hometown guy in Louisville last night. Now he's fighting someone in their hometown. Also, he'll be wrestling for 10 years next month. So congratulations to Myron on that. Both started the match showing off their athleticism. Fans loved it. For the first few minutes, they fought in sequences with small 20 to 30 second breaks to interact with the fans. This continued throughout the match, a lot of tit for tat and reversals. The fans were very heavily invested. I recommend watching this because it's going to be better than my descriptions. Our winner here, Sydney Akeem, with the final act for 3. The match ended with "That was awesome" chants from the crowd. That's what I have to say about that one.
I'll kind of go over here what you said with the counters and reversals, and this kind of goes into the whole Myron character is what I'm kind of seeing of. I loved Myron scouting Sydney's new finisher that he's been using in GCW, and he had a reversal for that during this match, and it just kind of showed like Myron's focus in scouting, doing the mental training that he needs to do, and
there we go.
In and outside
at the PC.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And of course, debuted in the pandemic era. So there is a good chance he's never been. Oh, that's a fantastic story then. And a hell of a good match. Hell of a good match.
Yeah, I never knew why they kind of made him like kind of a butler instead of showcasing like the Ninja Mac style that he does to a worldwide audience. That kind of always blew my mind there. So I'm glad he's getting this opportunity. That's kind of what he was. It wasn't the butler. It's the sommelier. Wasn't he like a sommelier?
Yeah,
I think that's what he was.
Yeah, that's so corny for someone as good as him. So I'm happy he's gotten out of that. All he's going to do is sharpen the pencil and become better, and he may end up right back there again. Wouldn't be surprised either.
Especially a match like this, and kind of as we're like, I wanted to say, well, here, let me finish this thought real fast. I love just the countering, and it's also showed the maturity of Sydney during this matchup of now learning Myron stuff and being able to counter instead of just doing all the cool flippy stuff. So the psychology during this match I really enjoyed from both competitors. Where was I saying now? What were we just saying here?
We were talking about Sydney over at not being able to have. Holy crap, John! So we were just talking about how he was trained over at the PC and how there is a chance then
Fuego, that him possibly going back. So that leads me to Fuego. we've been seeing Fuego on GCW programming and killing it, and he's been getting way more opportunities than he was previously being in an AEW. And now he's back on Ring of Honor programming this week and wrestling in a match on Ring of Honor. So it is cool seeing him going back after getting the opportunity that he never got the first time, showcasing what he did in GCW. Now bigger companies bringing him back because they've seen what they kind of didn't see the first time. So that is cool seeing that happen in wrestling right now. One other thing too, I kind of wrote in here, snuck in here. I wouldn't mind seeing Myron Reed if Jordan and Mason were going to have this kind of multiple show feud. I wouldn't mind seeing Myron Reed filling in for Jordan and having Mason attacking Myron in the meantime to kind of keep him in a storyline that's prominent. Now Myron gets put into this now with Mason, and you could roll back to whenever. I don't think the feud's going to last that long, but whenever Jordan does come back, you could go back to him, Mason feuding with Myron Reed as another stepping stone and kind of chapter to the story if they want to do that when he comes back.
Mason does need a subject right now. So
I would have Myron Reed getting a significant story would be awesome in GCW for me.
Yeah, and if we had more time, I would say let's talk about who else could. But yeah, I see where you're going with that one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, this is one thing I kind of noticed during this match. All right. Next matchup is a tag team match as the Rad Dads, Cole Radrick and Effie, go against the Rejects. And I have just a couple notes here, and I'll piggyback off of you.
I'll stop right there just for a second because I just saw John's message here. He said, few minutes behind, Pops removed a layer of plexiglass over the balcony and installed new lighting that made it possible to move hard cam. Excellent. Now we know.
Behind the scenes, yes. Love that information.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that at all. Thank you so much, John. Stuff like that is appreciated. It gives us a much better understanding so that we're not sitting here talking idiots as much.
You gonna go into the match or no?
Let's rock and roll. Did you mention match 6 already?
Yes, I did.
Holy shit. Oh my goodness, guys. Okay, so the Rejects were out first. It's nice seeing Reed Bentley back again. The Rad Dads came out next. Love the new team name. The Rejects jumped the Dads before the bell even had a chance to ring. Bentley hit a nasty apron power slam. I had another what the fuck moment. I don't know if I'd seen that from him recently. I don't know if I'd seen him from that in GCW in the last year or two. I love it though. Effie grabbed the first weapon, a chair he bent across Reed's back. Then both fight over a door. Murdoch launched that door at Cole's head, creating a Cole-sized dent in the door. No names, but why has GCW talent not learned that balancing a door on the rope doesn't provide enough stability to allow the door to snap? We've had at least 3 failures from this month alone. Cole launched Murdoch from the top rope onto Reed seated in a chair below, and he crushed the chair. Our winners here are Cole Radrick and Effie with an Effie sack rider. I'll stop right there. I saw you smile when I said that for a minute, but yeah. I've seen too many times where they're putting it on the door and it just has too much bounce. You should know that when you put your feet on the door or on the ropes.
I just love seeing Joey fail with the door all the time. That's why I was laughing.
He has terrible luck with doors,
no names. Sorry, no names.
Tables and doors. But so yeah, I'll just stop right there for a minute. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Because this is where it gets a little weird.
I didn't have much on the match. I love the plunder, obviously, of it all. Seeing the Rejects, I always kind of just expect some violence and some plunder fuckery happening. Love, as you said, mentioned the name Rad Dads with Cole Radrick and Effie. I always enjoy any kind of interaction they have you there. And actually they have there, so I was reading. But yeah, I thought it was a good match. And yeah, afterwards, things got interesting, which I was sorry, I'm reading here. If we want to throw something at you, John, they know it's going to fail. If we want to pull the veil, they know. So they want to set up failure. That's interesting.
Interesting thought right there.
Yeah, I like it when it doesn't break all the time either. Sometimes because it just shows you, like, it just shows the difference of like what you had, the power and stuff. And sometimes it shows the difference of the wrestler performing the move. And it just shows you like when it, like MJF, when he jumped off and just this last Wednesday and like jumped off to the outside and elbowed Osprey, that table fucking shattered. But you saw the height that he got on purpose to make sure he got that explosion of the table. And I enjoyed seeing that, but just I enjoyed him jumping as high as he did to show the impact that needs to happen for the table or the door to break. And I don't mind whenever it doesn't break sometimes too. I just laugh at it, especially when it's Joey though, even more so. No offense, Joey. It's just always funny. It's you. You're the one. You're the muse for my door non-breaking excitement there.
He's fun. We love him. All right. So Perch taps the 3, and out come the 2 men that were stalking Allie and Effie in that previous video. They start to attack Effie with an old school crowbar. That is old school. Cole comes in, Manders comes in. They eventually fight to the back. This leaves Effie in the ring by himself. From behind comes a huge masked man. It's the Maharaja. He chokes out Effie, hits his pose, music plays, and he's out. Eventually, Effie makes it out of the ring with some assistance. I'm going to stop right there. We were concerned about Effie doing SRS and what the next step is. And here we are now with another high profile story that he's jumping into. And I think it's lovely, number 1. And number 2, I think high profile fits him better. So the more that we can start getting these types of matches in the door, hopefully that would bring more fans in the door. And Effie delivers, so there's no problem on his end.
And this is the time in the podcast where I now retract all those negative things that I was talking about Effie's booking these last couple shows since beating Manser. I kind of would go back to what SRS was saying. Effie, you beat Manser, congratulations, but you've done shit with it since then. You've been wrestling in tag teams just like how you were before. And the person that you beat is now the champion. So congratulations, you might have won the battle, but Manser's winning the war right now. And capitalizing on that feud more than Effie. So I loved how SRS kind of was talking about all that stuff, because that's all the shit that I was bitching about with Effie after this whole feud over these last couple of weeks on the podcast. And now we get to see why. It kind of makes sense now why he was tagging with his friends. It showed Effie as now, hey, all those people I went to war with Manser, I now get to have your back in these matchups and have a little bit of not closure, but kind of payback and closure to say thank you for your help. And now, like, it was cool seeing that, but now it led to keeping Effie fresh and to this big, as you said, like big name that's coming in. And this is, I think this, other than wrestling Mance for the belt, this is the next biggest thing that Effie could have done in GCW. And I'm glad that he is getting that now, because we were concerned of what was going to happen with Effie after this feud. And I think it just kind of cooled him off and kind of refreshed him for this bigger feud. And I'm glad, as you are too, as you said, Effie getting the big name match and big free agent in GCW. It's him getting that match and not Joey or somebody else. It's now Effie's getting these names. And I'm happy for him to be getting this opportunity. And I'm glad that over these last couple of weeks, while in my mind didn't really lead to much, it led to this point, which makes me now always everything and we say this on the podcast, like I'm bitching about it now. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to come back and say, I should have gave it time. I should have let it play out. And if this is what was happening, this is awesome for him. And I'm very happy for Effie to get this matchup and feud with the Maharaja. And as you were saying at the beginning of the podcast, if we're looking on somebody to kind of keep GCW in a good name, wrestling and just against the man of physical size as a Maharaja, and not make it look like Maharaja's the big guy in the indies and we're all like literally smaller. Effie's going to be looking at him eye to eye and defending GCW's honor. And I think that matchup, him matching the physicality and size of the Maharaja, is really good. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's all about optics. If, the Maharaja comes in and he's got someone out there who's 5'7", what's that going to look like? Especially if that 5'7" performer is one of our stars, say like a Ninja Mac or someone. It would not look good for us. It looks like we'd be fighting with our backs against the wall from day one. So it really does matter that we do have Effie out there with the bulk that he has. By far,
I think
right on that one.
optically too, just as a fan, like a non GCW fan, they're going to see a quote unquote jobber who couldn't work for WWE the last 2 years and he just got one match. And he goes from like being a jobber on WWE to now being the top of the indies. And then, yeah, you're wrestling against a smaller person. They're not going to look good on GCW, but they see somebody matching his size. They're like, oh, like this is a legit threat to him. And GCW does have some stuff there that can threaten WWE or mainstream TV. So when you said that earlier, I knew I was going to be coming back to this and mentioning it, but you made a good point of Effie being the perfect person to match the size and optically represent GCW in a good manner.
So then we were talking earlier about the Bollywood boys, which of course it could be anyone, but it was kind of spoken of just for a second. Is there a faction coming out of this? Because I like the idea.
So, like I said at the beginning of this show, like not this podcast episode, but when we were covering this show, How High here? Oh, Jack Cartwheel, thank you. I wrote a whole storyline, kind of inserting the Maharaja and Effie and totally fucking this ladder match up. And you could have, like, I thought maybe Brett was bringing in someone to kind of help him fight back GCW. That's where I was kind of hoping, and maybe it could still go there every ways, but I'm hoping that with Maharaja being in GCW, him with the deathmatch royalty seems like overkill in my opinion. I don't think they needed another person, especially a man of that stature in that group, as when you already have the champion in there. So I'm very interested and happy to see where they're going to go here, because what I wrote down, and then that later on Effie showing up and him attacking Effie totally through my plans that I typed in. That's why I said earlier I had to delete this shit, because it was before the actual debut happened. But now that seeing what has happened, I know they're going to keep it away, which is good for Effie from the world title scene, but I think it would be a cool way to get Effie into this title scene with the Maharaja at Homecoming. I think Homecoming now has the possibility to be as big and hopefully have a imprint on wrestling scene as it did with Cardona versus Gage. I think you could put a very cool storyline together that will get the internet wrestling world talking, as they did with Cardona and Gage at that Homecoming. I think now is out of any time since then to right now is the hottest that GCW has been, I think, since the whole Hammerstein fiasco and Homecoming with Gage and Cardona. With Maharaja being here, I think it could be a lot of good opportunity to elevate GCW regulars' names while also causing a scene on independent wrestling and having literally different company wrestlers and different companies talking about them again. I think Homecoming could be very, very special and is at a big time right now.
Oh yeah, it's going to be special for sure. There's so many fun storylines going on right now. And again, that's what we were yelling about 2 years ago. So we're really happy to see all this going down. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really wanted to say about this one. We covered quite a bit of it. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of promos are going to come out between these two. Really interested in that.
That first promo of I'm sorry, and I'm not meaning this in a derogatory way.
You're trying to figure out the name.
Yeah. What's his name? Is it Raj? Is it Raj Desi? Or Desi Raj?
Raj Desi, I believe
Desi?
Is the way it's said.
I hate keep saying Maharaja. I want to like actually get his new name out there and saying it.
I honestly don't feel the shit was very clear. I mean, I think it was said a couple times, but I don't feel it was clear. And I mean, if we don't know and we're big fans, we're like, well. But yeah, I think it was
Raj,
like, Raj Desi.
Well, real fast, going to that, as you said, the promos and everything that could be happening. That first promo that he put out 2 days ago on Twitter, just shitting on GCW, shitting on them. That was something that I got me pissed. Like, I actually thought was like, dude, he's like, I thought he really is like, fuck this. Like, I'm out of here. Like, why did I show up here? I did my weekend. I got my paycheck. I'm fucking out. This is not what I expect. Like, legit, that's what I was getting heated. And that's good. Like, it's a good thing. because that's the fucking mark in me like heated, like shut the
I
fuck
love
up,
it.
like what are you doing shitting on GCW? We just gave you this platform. Like I'm getting all pissed, and at the end I'm like, okay, he did a good job. He's a good heel, but that promo he did was awesome. And like it said, if that's the shit that we're gonna get from him from this heel run, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm loving Effie. Like, what the fuck, Brett? What the fuck, Matt? Why are you letting people do this to us, to me, to my friends, to this company? Why are you like Effie's killing it in the promo already in this feud as well too. So I am very, very happy and excited of what this could go through. And this is like Effie, this is bumping him up to another level, which I'm very happy to see after the whole feud with Mance Warner. And this is awesome, man. Like I said, I got heated. I'm still heated now. Even I just went back and kind of look up that Raj and I saw the promo. Fuck GCW. Like, fuck you, fucker. God, but that's good. That's what
that means it's working.
And this is the heat. I think that's going to be. I think that, like I said, I don't know. Maybe it's just me on cloud nine right now with GCW. For me, heading into Homecoming, I just have this big grandiose, like, let's fuck this internet wrestling up again. Let's have WWE talent talking about our Homecoming show. Let's have AEW talking about us, New Japan's. Let's get the internet wrestling community talking about us again. And I think right now, with all the stories and the heat, for at least me, I haven't been this excited for a Homecoming, or I don't think GCW has been this hot for me since Hammerstein, and I'm just being honest. And like I said, I don't know if it was just this weekend that has me thinking that way, but with all these cool stuff and all these free agents, I think this Homecoming could be a special one if booked properly to get GCW back up to where we were. And by far, no questions asked, the number 3 promotion in US right now.
For me, I feel like the entertainment value of the stars have went up for sure. So, we're having Danhausen and we're having people like Nick Gage and we're having those who have more colorful personalities come out. And I feel like we have more of that now with Microman, with Sam Stackhouse than we did when the first Hammerstein show went off. And again, I don't know if it's Hammerstein or Hammerstein. I'm
Stein.
Terrible. Hammerstein.
It's Stein because the I had to talk myself into this many times because Kevin Steen is double E.
Yeah.
Stein. The Steiners is EI. So Hammerstein.
Oh, okay. See, now I know. Yeah.
I'll still slip and say Hammerstein though.
I'll blame it on you if I fuck it up. But
I don't know. Like I said, I just I had notes here. Like I think GCW could use this opportunity to build something. I know now might not seem like as high as it was, and this goes back, and I don't want, once again, I'm bringing this up, I don't want to talk about it now because we don't have time, but like I think GCW is going in a different direction than from the ultra violence and the hardcore shindies backyard shit. I think now with the talent they're getting and I hate saying that, and I'm going to counteract saying this now, but I'm going to counteract it later with Mance Warner. The ultra violent, they're moving away from that and kind of doing the sports entertainment, the stories. And I think that's right now is going to help us get back up to where we were in the wrestling scene right now.
Okay. I'll touch on it just for a minute because you touched on it too. I did a poll a couple days ago where I said what would be the frequency of death matches you would want. It was around 60% was one a show, not 2, 3. That was an option. Also one a weekend, once a month or none at all was also an option. Surprisingly, I think it was like 13% was fine without one. We won't get into that too much. On my end of it though, I feel like every new GCW show is going to be someone's first show. And as a variety show, I'm big on having that variety of a hardcore, a death match. That sounds great, but really maybe a hardcore match. There does need to be a concerted effort by GCW to bring in younger fans. And I think a good way to do that may be to stay away from the glass and maybe go towards chairs and tables and things like that are a little more safer for a 5-year-old in a front row to watch, which of course it's never safe in that sense. But if we are going to make changes, which Brett Lauderdale said on Patreon, we're more of a variety company than we are a deathmatch company now. This is an evolution. And in this evolution, we have to understand that it's not easy for GCW to have as many American deathmatch talents in, because there's been a bubble over the last 25 years that I feel like has burst over the last 3 to 5, where you're not seeing as many younger talents taking on the job of a deathmatcher anymore. And I feel that part of why the deathmatch scene was so large to begin with is because it was made popular in the mid to late 90s, and everybody was copycatting since then, which is where we have our CZWs and other companies come in. And you would watch those shows, and there was at least 2-3 major injuries on every show. Most of these guys were barely trained at all. And to be in the deathmatch scene at that time meant, can you take the pain and can you get to the end of the match? And half these guys, just for the clout, would say yeah, and then go out there and get fucked up. So I do think that some wrestlers are becoming a little smarter to, if they want to participate in the deathmatch scene, mainly because they're looking at the last 20 years of bodies who have lived through the deathmatch scene. And not only are they just as sore as others, but they're sometimes more sore. Not only just as stiff as others, but they're sometimes more stiff. Their skin is fucked up from cuts. It's one of those things where maybe the little extra bump in pay may not be worth it for wrestlers anymore. You know, when you drive home, is it worth the extra $75 if you're in the back of the car and you're in 3 times the pain of the guy that's sitting right next to you? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think the label, you wrestle one of those matches, then you're going to have that footage, and that's going to be your label that sticks with you. And then that label as a deathmatch wrestler has a negative connotation right now in the internet wrestling community, where they just, they don't know how to wrestle. That's why they got to do all this other shit, where we know that's not the case, but I just think also the wrestlers are avoiding that to avoid that label and being stuck with them and affecting their future bookings and stuff like that. And I'm going to counteract everything I'm saying now, and probably about an hour, or hopefully I won't say hour long, later on in the show when I cover manslaughter, I'm going to counteract everything I just said and have an argument with myself.
That's okay.
Like Mance made me do that this weekend.
And Reed made a great point here. He said there's plenty of great death matchers now who can just wrestle, but some of them just won't be in GCW, or they are, and then they aren't. And that's a great point. And I'm not going to lie, there are a couple death matchers from the earlier days of GCW I really miss and would love to see again. But for fear of saying who I'd like to see, I'd rather not even, catch hell. This is why I like to have this small couple thousand kind of group that we have here, because we don't come under as much bullshit from just random people that are mad,
Yeah,
but there are quite a few death matchers I miss. I would, here's a great question. I'm going to ask on Patreon when I get a chance. On average, how much money does one death match cost? Because I mean, glass alone is going to put you up there.
And when we talked about it too, we a while ago and forever, we always bring up if the price of these death matches and the plunder and fuckery they have to buy, if we just cancel that out and that price could get us a Vikingo for a show, I am buy this. I want Vikingo, and other people are going to be like, buy Vikingo. I want the plunder. But I think like for me, like that's where like I think this is the evolution that GCW is going through right now, where they're. And I don't think it's GCW. I think it's the fans fighting for it. I think Brett wants to kind of not get rid of, but doesn't want that label of being the deathmatch company anymore. He wants to be just known as a wrestling company that has death matches. And that's right now, I think that's where he's trying to fight off. But I don't know. We're still getting like these death matches that we're about to come up to that make me fucking change my mind and then change my argument and everything. So, yeah, it's always a fun conversation we always bring up here.
I thought it was just a fun one. Let's see here. I'm looking
up costly, and then they are getting expensive.
Okay, so both are right, because one is an opinion about costly, because they aren't super expensive, but if you buy 100 to 200, they get expensive. And then on the other side, Great One also has a good point here, because light tubes are getting expensive and the price is going up. See, again, so a matter of opinion on either side on that one. But one thing that I will see here that Great One is talking about is the prices of the T12s are going up. And that's because technology is just moving on. And so they're going to go the way of Dodo eventually. On the deathmatch scene, I just want to say too, I mean, we're down to gussets and shit. I mean, I don't know how much we have left to fuck our bodies up with also. So that's something that, you know, and also we know how things over the years and decades change. I've lived long enough to see things change. I wonder if death matches are going to be strictly underground after a while. I wonder, because it seems like the mark of a small company, especially on the indie scene, happens to be their death match heavy. And so I wonder if GCW wants to even be included in that same bucket with some of those deathmatch companies. Also, let's be fair, if GCW doesn't do them as much, that's actually better for the deathmatch companies. Your IWAs, you know, your others, we'll say.
And all those companies are starting to go away right now too, based off everything, which you think would open up some talent to show up, but I don't know.
Well, luckily we have one or two companies, at least in my mind, that I feel like hold the torch really well on deathmatch. And so I'm looking forward to one company coming back, and I really do feel like deathmatch is why I started watching GCW, and I think that's why a lot of us started watching GCW. So if they do step away from that, it's a bold move. If they, you know, if they do it less, that's what they're doing now already. Not too bad, but I feel like,
Yep.
you know, 60% of the people in that poll said they want a show, just to be fair. And maybe
those are the old school fans, I think too. Like they're fighting, trying to get new fans while keeping the old fans happy. And that's honestly, that's a struggle there, bro. I don't know. Like it's a tough field there.
Well, it's interesting too, because the fan base at GCW is an older fan base. So at some point, like I said, they need to work on a younger fan base. What brings the younger fan base in? We have to figure that out, and that's not easy. That's why I said, well, I mean, if you want to go sports entertainment, you need Danhausen out there, you need Speedball out there, you need kid-friendly people on top of all the others. But here's the thing, if you start bringing in things like that, you're going to lose part of the GCW identity. And already dropping death matches off of GCW has it lose a large part of its identity. Also, what mostly put it on the map.
Yeah. I still like, I don't know. I vote like, and I'm one of those ones, like if I see one a night based off of the what's it called, the venue, I'm happy. Like one's good for me. Like, and it doesn't always have to be the champion, because then now, like, hey, let champion can't wrestle this week, have it between two other people for a number one contender. Like, start building, use it to build stuff. The champion doesn't always have to be involved, but you could use that kind of match to build up to something that could get crazy. And I that's how I would kind of book with death matches.
I would like one death match a show, honestly, and I think that the Ultraviolent Championship should then be on, again, a regular or a veteran. I mean, at this point, let's just put it on Murdoch and let him do his thing. He's probably the safest deathmatch worker you have. We know this because we always see him go deep into the tournaments, and when it comes down to it, you want your safest workers working the longest. So I'm thinking maybe, you know, let's I mean, we're already having these death matches and hardcore matches. Put the fucking belt on there. That belt is doing nothing sitting on a shelf. So at this point, like I said, I feel like the Extreme and the Ultraviolent are fucking dead. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine, because we're still getting matches. But, you know, if you just slap the belt on someone here, those matches would be even more important. And I'm talking from a fan's perspective. So I don't know. I think about that all the time. The Extreme to me is gone, because the way Brett talked about it was, this is just a hanging on kind of thing. Like, it's on the ledge on its fingertips, just barely hanging on. And there's really no need for it. So it looked cute on Maki. There you go. See you in a couple months. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if death matches were a focus at this time, those belts would be at home here in GCW right now. They would not be sitting on someone's shelf for 4 to 6 months at a time. That's an incredible waste. So these are clout belts. They're not being used. They're more or less just sitting there so that they can look good. And now the fans don't even see them. So who's benefiting from that belt? Because we aren't. Yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of my complaint on that one. But yeah, if we're going to get away from that, we don't need 2 belts. We need 1 belt, and the belt needs to be at home. Okay. Because it's useless. It's like buying something really nice for your car and then not putting it on there. What's the fucking point? So, well, it's sitting in the garage. Well, who gives a shit if it's sitting in the garage? I want it on the car.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at, and that's not being harsh at all. It's just, they must have known those titles weren't going to be around for a while. I don't know. But again, looking at all the young, lack of young deathmatch talent, what's the point? And if you're not going to go out there and get some of the best, like Cruel and some of these other death matchers that are really kicking ass out there, it's like they're we're choosing not to look at them because, trust me, they're on the radar. Fans know exactly who Cruel is. And if that motherfucker walked in, the pop would be amazing. Get some money and get that motherfucker in there for a death match. I'm not asking him to do 25-minute marathon with Speedball. I'm saying get him out there, shock the crowd, do something amazing, walk the fuck off. And when you come back, you look like a bigger monster. Let's get him on a bigger stage, because my understanding is GCW is the top level of independent talent. And if that's the case, we need the top level independent talent there. We are the pedestal. So we've got to get that figured out. Yeah, Reed, Cruel is my friend. I talked to him. I love the dude. I want to see him come over here, because we at GCW are big about, look at him, like Microman, look at him. He has this thing to him. Cruel, same thing. He has this thing to him. And it's like, damn, he said Cruel could do a 25 solid. Hey, he could do it. It's just, I don't think he's doing it the way we see it in our eyes. But no, I like the guy a lot. I have a high opinion of him. I've been saying it since day one, whether it's good to or not. I go out on the edge. There's quite a few wrestlers I really do miss. So yeah, I really thought TOS would be a great place to put Cruel. But again, go balls out and let's do it right, or let's just let the smaller companies do it. And if that's the case, then deathmatch overall in the independent scene has just been knocked down another step. So we've got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Squirreled off again.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll be talking a little bit more probably here after this main event, this match, a little bit more, but not too much, because we are getting into the 2-hour range here. All right. Our next matchup was the 5-way scramble, which was Hunter Drake, Bobby Flacco, Camaro Jackson, Ken Broadway, and Morgan Dash. I was happy to see some of the names, and I saw a couple new names I had never seen before. So I was happy just to see some new names and get the local talent involved. And yeah, I will piggyback up what you say here.
Sure. So I remembered the blue jacket Broadway is wearing. It's the Killionaires Club. I remember that from the match at For the Culture. Do you remember there was a match that almost went off the rails because the wrestlers kept talking shit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one where I had to actually thank Faye Jackson later and be like, you were the adult in the entire match. And she was just so thankful. She's like, thank God someone's seen it, because yeah, that's another story for another day. But For the Culture, there was a match that went off the rails because wrestlers were not getting along in the match. So, so Camaro had a show of power with the Pounce. Fans really liked him a lot from the beginning. Bobby here shined. Every time I look at him, he was flying off of something. Morgan, to me, was the smallest guy with some of the most impressive moves at his size. He's got that Marco Stunt with more abilities vibe. I like it a lot, and I would like to see him back again. I will talk more about him later. Our winner in this one was Hunter Drake with Purple Haze 4-3. Again, Hunter had another great match. This is now his second of the weekend. This dude was like 1, 2, 3 all weekend. He left his home one way, and he's coming home a winner after this one. So I'm very happy, because I was rough on him, and that was a lot on me. And I had a chance to talk about it and watch him and really say, hey, here's what I think. Seeing the young kid succeed has made me happy. And I hope he continues to do that.
Yeah, he's improved every single show we see him on, and I'm happy to see that as well. I just enjoy this because I kind of figured this was going to be happening on this card. Just get all the locals involved and get them their shit in. And I liked it. Seeing Ken Broadway is always makes me happy, because we used to see him a little bit more back in the day in GCW. So him coming out was nice and fun. Camaro Jackson looked good, and yeah, Morgan Dash. What your description there, Marco Stunt with skills, was was good. I liked it. Yeah, because looks like he can fly. Like, but we didn't see too much of it in this one. But I would like to see him kind of flying around a little bit more.
I looked down at my notes further in the thing. I wrote down that he was a mix between Marco Stunt, Yoya, and Joe Lando. That's where I have him at. He has that. He has the speed of Yoya. He has Marco. Okay, yeah, I won't get too
Yeah,
far into that. Like I said, we're
that's a good
already
one.
2 hours in, but yeah, I started tearing into him because I do believe in him. I think he should come back again. He's got enough size to not be considered in the little people's category, and he's just short enough that he doesn't fit in the tall adult male category, which means that that's a body that you can throw around.
Yeah.
Mercer is going to have a blast with him. No kidding. If Morgan can take a beating, Morgan would have a hell of a job at GCW. Think of someone like Marco, Mr. Danger, someone like that. So if you can take that damage, you could be that Spike Dudley of this generation at GCW.
Our next matchup, speaking of Shane Mercer, is Shane Mercer going against Megan Bain. And we have Blake Christian on commentary for this one, which I was always enjoying just because of just to hear, like, every time we get Cardona, Brett, or now Blake on commentary to further along the story, I'm looking forward to it. Blake doesn't he calm down though on the screams there. He kind of did blow my speakers out quite a few times during this match when he was getting excited. But other than that, I enjoyed hearing the enthusiasm and him just kind of pushing the story along further on commentary for this big matchup with his heater Shane Mercer against Megan Bain. I enjoyed it. And this is another one of these matchups I enjoy because it's this like the outside pieces still fighting and still having a say in the story and continuing the story. I enjoyed having Bain versus Mercer. I thought that made a lot of sense.
Look at Bain too. Look how she's doing now. That booking is insane for her.
Yeah, she's getting pushed to the moon here.
I wonder again how much we sat here and we were like, oh, this and that, and they went, all right, let's rocket her.
Well, she's been killing it though. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So yeah, Joey was supposed to be here with Megan tonight, but those are the travel issues that we were talking about earlier. Another interesting dynamic here. Two powerhouses. Again, at the end, someone's going to look weaker. Why make a powerhouse look weaker? I would have switched opponents between Zilla and Stackhouse and maybe had those two switch off in some way, because then if you would have had, say, Megan Bain and Zilla, that's a really wild matchup. But Megan Bain and Stackhouse could have been very interesting. Shane Mercer and Stackhouse would have also been interesting. Shane Mercer and Zilla would have been very interesting. So I maybe would have, I don't know, it feels like a fan book that. Let's take the two big guys and make them smash each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, they're working with what they have too. And I'm sure that this was going to be a tag match. So again, we're working with what we have. Megan gets a video promo. It doesn't say who, but it shares a quote. All authority is in the throne. And what is the throne? This wooden frame covered with velvet. No, I am the throne. Let's talk about that for a minute. Do you know who that's from?
No shot.
Okay. So I'm a history guy. I think you've kind of figured that out over time. So luckily I love history. That's a quote by Napoleon. This is a famous saying from a very famous speech called I Am the State from Louis XIV. Napoleon is still considered today to be one of the greatest military commanders in history, and his Napoleonic tactics are still studied in military schools worldwide. The ending for him, he was exiled to an island where he was left to die. I don't know. So we'll see how much of that story ends up there. But I thought it was very classy that someone came up with a Napoleon quote. Blake Christian comes out with Shane Mercer. He has a Mega Sus shirt on. That started a needle dick chant. I'd have to say it really has been decades since I've heard a good needle dick chant. Thank you so much for rolling that one out there. Megan and Shane were booked evenly in this match. Shane should knock out her other eye. I thought it would be funny if Megan now has to fight blind like Neo from the Matrix. I feel like that's some Master Splinter level shit right there. The only good thing that could come out of this is it's making Mercer look more evil. That's the only way I'm trying to book this to where it makes sense and the character gets something out of it. Blake was making fun of Mask Recon slow count. I found that kind of funny because he was going 1,
Yeah.
2. Our winner here was Megan Bain with a spear into a tombstone. Megan is now 9-0. So now that Shane has lost to Megan, where does this leave Shane as a credible threat? He got his ass whooped by Megan. Just see, so this is where I say, again, this is me being too serious with an independent show because, again, sometimes it's just a match. But here I'm just saying, if this is about entertainment, this is about getting all the building blocks in place. Let's get these little details under control. But Blake comes to the ring and Megan eats a super kick. And that's primarily where that one stopped. Any thoughts on this 11-minute match?
They both, to me, I liked how it was kind of like 50-50 the entire time. They both got to showcase their power. And Megan, well, of course, once again, shined through with her power, being able to toss Mercer around the ring. And that spear she gave Mercer, and the way that's where I lost my shit with Blake, because he like screamed at the at the spear and like he was so shocked and everything. But he did a good job selling it. I was just happy that, like I said, I kind of like see the pieces, as we say, not get lost in the shuffle. They still kind of have a purpose, and I thought this purpose was to continue the storyline and to further push Bane, but also to get Blake in there at the end to keep the heat on him. I thought was good, but yeah, I don't know. For me, I would have found some way to like mess up this ending, so it's like a no contest to kind of save both of them. I would have had Blake come in and interfere a lot earlier, so that way Mercer doesn't have to take the L in this whole storyline. But I don't know. I like with the win loss in this one, I don't really matter too much with momentum and everything, but I do absolutely understand your point. I care about wins and losses pretty much in every other instance, but this one, it didn't really bother me. But yeah, that was it for me. I just enjoyed how it furthered the story, and Blake kind of doing good on commentary to further the story along was the shining point for me.
Reed Harris, this just occurred to me. Bane is with SDH and screws Joey over.
What's SDH? Is he trying to say SDL maybe? What's SDH? I'm lost there.
It's making me think for a minute. He's frantically typing as we
loves gods and monsters.
I'm trying to think who has the last name H in our company.
SDL, okay.
SDL, okay, yeah. Yeah, Bane is with SDL and screws Joey over. Very possible. And again, what a great tag team between those two. Wouldn't SDL and Bane make an incredible tag team? Maybe even with Cardona's help, take the tag titles. I mean, it sounds funny, but at the same time, it would be very interesting. There's always someone there to help them cheat if they wanted to. SDL's already a heater, and Megan Bane has done this 100 times. I feel like the fans turned her face. So
I think another thing that could help out Deathmatch Royalty and look good, it was like if every person in that group did have a belt. Like, hey, we literally took over your company, and then that could further the GCW fight and further the GCW brand back from Deathmatch Royalty. That was kind of where earlier in one of my storylines I was kind of heading there, but now they're getting a little bit too strong with the Maharaja and everything. So I don't know. But no, I don't know. I don't think Bane should go with them. I think Deathmatch Royalty is strong enough as it is. But yeah, give Jimmy the ultra violence. Give SDL and Cardona the tag titles for all I care. Like, I think all of us should be strapped up and ending one of the shows, everyone holding up the belt and like, hey, this is my group of non-GCW people other than Jimmy.
And then Cardona goes, acknowledge me.
Right. as we end the show and Homecoming, yeah, that'll get the fans going on Homecoming, that's for sure. All right, our main event of GCW So High is for the GCW World Title as Mance Warner defends it against Hoodfoot, and I definitely got the match I wanted and expected out of these two, and to main event Pops the show at Pops Nightclub, I left happy after this match, and I will have a little bit more to say here at the end because most of my stuff's really at the end. This match killed it. I loved all the violence, and this is Hoodfoot's environment, and for him to kind of get this title match in this environment was perfect for him as well.
My first note's kind of repeating something that we talked about earlier, though, but Mance is out first. I like having refs down there with Mance for many reasons. Again, for the wrestler, for the fans, and for the company. I think it's very smart. Hoodfoot comes out, and I'm thrilled to see him get a chance. Should this be a championship match was my question. I'm really unsure. Will it be a bloody match? Yes. Mance is in gloves, and Hood Rat. Jesus. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Hoodfoot was wrapped up also. There was a nasty tope by Hoodfoot. Mance moved, and Hoodfoot hits the floor with a smack. Tables and chairs were introduced early, 5 minutes in, and we have our first light tube break. It became very bloody about minute 10 for Mance. Then out comes Mance's screwdriver. It's like the temperature goes up in the room when that screwdriver comes out. Blood starts hitting the mat, and Mance's forehead is squirting. Hoodfoot has a relatively clean forehead and body, which is unheard of. Usually he's, bloody by the handshake, but I'm now realizing all the blood on the mat was just Mance's buckets. Mance superplexed Hoodfoot through a door bridge. Mance tried using skewers on Hoodfoot and failed. Hoodfoot got a few in Mance's head. He goes back and grabs a pane of glass. A glass bridge was built. Broski Jimmy comes out, hits Hoodfoot with light tubes. Mance put Hoodfoot through the glass. Our winner here, Mance Warner with an Impaler DDT. That was a solid main event. I'll stop right there and let you talk, sir.
What's your last statement that you didn't read that you erased? Is kind of where I was going to go from here. Yeah, this is if Mance Warner is going to be having this kind of world championship reign. I take back everything I said about the death matches. He's keeping the death match alive in GCW with a title match like this, and he is like, if this is what GCW is going to be, I'm in. He could have a match against Hoodfoot and get ultraviolet. He could defend it against Myron Reed, and it doesn't have to get ultraviolet, but still be as crazy and have all the plunder and tell a good story as it is. Like, he's given what I've wanted from this world title. I've always wanted this GCW world title to be, it can be defended against a one-on-one, regular rules, no fuckery involved match, or if this case calls for it, like in this one, it could be settled in a ultraviolet death match with light tubes and a bunch of fuckery and glass. Mance is doing that, and I think that's what I've always wanted from my GCW world title, to be able to defend it in like a hybrid of different ways. And Mance is bringing it back right now to me, where he's my champion right now because of this. He's like restoring the old school GCW world title feeling in me, and as a fan of this, this whole weekend, he gets 3 shows of main eventing as the world title, and we see 3 different style of matchups. And yeah, that's what I want from a GCW world title. If we're going to keep the ultra-violent scene alive, if it's going to be gone, and we don't ever see it again, Mance could still fill this role just as fine as we have seen it. But I enjoyed this weekend. Mance this weekend switched my mind of where last week I said Blake's my champion. This week now, Mance Warner is my champion, and I just enjoy what he's doing as a world champion.
Fucking love you, Rude.
I just love what he's doing as a champion. Like, he's making it in his vision, in his eyes, and that's where I think a lot of GCW people envisioned this world title being defended in these types of matchups. So I'm now all in on Mance being my GCW world champion.
I got one for you, and it just hit me while we were talking. Do you think that Mance Warner is just what Nick Gage would have been 20 years ago if he was alive right now in this time period? What I'm saying is if Nick Gage was Mance Warner's age right now, would Nick and Mance almost be having the same type of match? Because it certainly seems as such. Both would be bleeding. Both would be hardcore. Both would be putting on 20-minute main events. Both would not stop. The company would basically wrap around their storyline. Like, the whole thing kind of comes off like we're getting a younger Nick Gage to a degree.
Yeah,
I know it's saying a lot that way, but I'm not saying he's Nick Gage. I'm just saying we're getting that type of a show out of Mance Warner, but there's a lot more promos, and I love that too.
I think he's more character centric, obviously, than Nick Gage is, where Nick was just the violence. Mance could do the violence while also doing the character work here. Um,
I didn't want to touch that, Reed. I didn't want to touch that, Reed, but I could say he's probably
yeah,
Mance is more capable. And I think even in both in their prime, I feel like Mance probably was a better storyteller. Also, I'm just being honest here. And I feel like Mance has more to offer if both were the same age, because Mance has a depth to him that I think is a little more he just has a depth to him. Whereas Nick Gage, it's straightforward. You know exactly what you're going to get. That guy's going to go to the ring and he's going to just beat the fuck out of whoever's in there. Whereas Mance, he's capable of playing games, and he's capable of destroying someone in 100 different ways. And yeah, I went out on a limb, but I felt like it was worth saying because I feel like I'm getting a younger Nick Gage kind of match.
I think what so far Mance Warner's title run, he's had like I this is what I feel. I feel Brett's coming up to you. What do you want to do as world champion? And I feel that's something that Blake was an opportunity that Blake never got. Like Blake just was there to fill in as not fill in as champion, but to be the champion I think Brett wanted it to be. Where I feel this is Mance became champion, and Brett's like, how do you want this belt to go? Like, what do you want to do with this? What do you want your title run to be remembered as? And I feel this is Mance Warner's way of restoring the old school GCW feeling with these death matches, with these 20-minute, just have the crowd shitting on him for 20 minutes and then popping for the face. Like that's what wrestling's all about. And I think like he just has the power and is getting the opportunity to do something that Blake, unfortunately, I don't know if he was able to give this opportunity, but I think if Blake was got the same freedom as Mance, we'd be seeing a totally different Blake GCW world title run than what we saw or are seeing right now with Mance and what we did see with Blake as a champion.
When I get a chance down the road, it could be 6 months, it could be a year, I do want to ask Blake what he's learned from his championship run and what he would do differently, because I would love to hear what he would do differently. I've always felt from the beginning of this run that if anything, Blake learned what to ask for in his next run. So we'll see there. Reed also brought up something interesting. If Nick could figure out how to bring his out of the ring personality into his in, that would be gold, like solid gold. Very interesting thought indeed. Alrighty. So that's that on this show. We've got another show to go still.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in a long one here. Yeah. So that was it for So High. I end up leaving as Mance as my champion. Like this is the kind of show. If this is what the GCW shows are going to feel like as this, with Mance being our world champion, I want it to continue on and keep on going because this was a fun weekend, and I think just showcase of what Mance Warner's title run could be.
Also, I just want to say we have almost 500 people in here right now. So congratulations on all that. We finally hit our 500 for the night live. Damn, it's 1:30 on the East Coast right now. So thank you to all the insomniacs hanging with us. I know some of you are probably at work too, listening to our dumbasses talk. It's highly appreciated. Yeah, we've got one more in us here. We've got Don't Tell Me What to Do.
All right. GCW's Don't Tell Me What to Do comes to us from the Marriott East in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And we are now in the foothills of Wreck Shit Mountain. This right here is Ratty Daddy country out in Indiana. So this is an exciting thing. And sadly, this was the last match we saw of Cole before he got injured. Yeah. And it wasn't at this show, by the way. And I can tell you that because he went to NASCAR the next day and he was perfectly fine in pictures and stuff. So it could have just been something simple around the house. He may have been moving something. I don't know. I didn't want to bug him with ask him. I just wanted to make sure that he was healthy enough to, and, just no kidding. If you're the type, send some prayers and good thoughts to him, because that's a good guy who just fell on something really hard. So please give him as much love as you can, and be ready as soon as he comes back, because that's going to be a joyous thing. It's like Jordan Oliver. When he comes back, I hope it's a surprise, and I hope we fucking pop. All
I'm
right.
really hoping yes, it is. I envision Jordan and Cole. Like I I honestly think this. I hate that it's going to sound bad, but this might be good for Cole with regarding just that GCW ring. Keep him out of our minds. Keep that ring. Let's everybody forget about it. And when Cole's ready to return, he
Boom.
has that ring. He makes his all my friends are dead, and the crowd's gonna pop. He makes
Boom.
his
Yep.
return. You got that ring. You got a cool moment, and boom, you just now took Cole to the next level. And he just by I hate to say that, just by not being there, I think this might be a good kind of way. And I'll talk about it because I wrote it down during his book. And before I knew he was injured, I wrote down like some stuff about Cole, and I didn't know what to do. But now I think honestly, this might be a good thing for him in the long run. Hopefully, it turns out good for his wrestling career. I know it's not a good thing. Good thing he got injured.
No,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
honestly
No,
think
no, no.
from a character wrestling just
From a
dynamic, I
story
think it might be
standpoint.
good. Yeah, it might
You're
be
right.
really good.
Jim Cornette always says, "How can I miss you if you're never gone?" It's a good way to put it too.
Absence will make the heart. Was it absence make the heart grow fonder?
Makes
Or
the
something like
heart
that?
grow fond. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So, did you introduce this match or not? I'm so
No,
sorry.
I did not. Here we go. Our first match again is the tag team match. Like I said, we get the strong opener of Bangin' Matthews going against. But yeah, I wanted to, but then I don't. Like, how do you get injured as a fan of NASCAR? Unless I don't know. I don't even want to
Again,
like, speculate or
I'm
nothing.
just no. I'm just saying the last time I saw him without a boot was he was chilling at NASCAR. So something between those NASCAR pictures and the next day, again, he could have just he could have kicked the side of his bed. I don't know.
Right. That's what I was like when I saw the injured NASCAR. I was like, what? All right. Bangin' Matthews go against Bobby Flacco and Hunter Drake. Team New South is what I'm going to start calling these kind of the competitors when they have the New South teams get together.
I love New South at this point.
The 4 or 5 they've been like at GCW shows. Bobby Flacco, Rico, Braden Toon, Hunter Drake, they've all been fucking killing it. They're cool. They all could work against each other, but I think as a tag team, they all show their chemistry together and come through in a positive light as tag team competitors as well.
Well, all 4 men had a great weekend. We can start right there. It was cool that they all finished together in the ring. It was the high-paced and exciting match only 2 younger teams could have. Tag rules didn't really exist after minute 4, and that's okay here. Sometimes I see a wrestler stand on his feet for 3 to 7 seconds watching 2 wrestlers set up their team move. That needs to stop. Maybe the wrestler on his feet should stop watching and level both for trying that shit. Our winner in this one was Bangin' Matthews with a 450 splash on Hunter Drake for 3. I would like to go back to scrambles first, but I see where this match fits on the card. Young talent opening the show, which is where you and I kind of disagreed on the very first match of the first show. Here it is again, where, it was exciting and where our points meet up again. I want to go back onto this one just for a second. Yeah, if the opponent is just standing there pretending he's dazed and you get to the 5, 6, 7 second mark, maybe just undaze and fucking deck the guy. If it takes 7 seconds for you to make your little move, maybe do it differently. I know this is getting picky, but there are some things in wrestling that need to kind of hold off. And again, if if 2 people need to get on each other's backs and do all this shit just to execute one move, find a smoother way to do it. Like I said, it's just like holding up a chair for 5 to 7 seconds while someone hits you with it. Get the fuck out of here. That's corny and needs to be stopped, just like the light tubes that do that. Yeah, and that goes to another point too, where Stephen A was talking on Patreon, and he was saying how the one thing he don't like about wrestling is there's constantly callbacks to the 90s, like that was the greatest time ever. And he's kind of right, and I'll tell you why. My son's been watching wrestling for a couple years, and he actually asked me to go back and watch the stuff from the 90s and the Attitude Era because he was tired of people on AEW and GCW calling back to spots that he didn't know anything about. So that is kind of funny, and maybe that's a little telling, but wrestling is in its own head, and it's always calling back to the good old days. And I think we need to make those days now. Anyway.
I love all the callbacks to like certain spots.
Oh, I do too.
Like
I do
I
too.
pop for those little details. Like and like I said, it rewards the fans for being fans for so long. Like
The
those little
older
things I
fans.
love.
It
Yeah.
rewards the older fans. See, somebody like 19, like my son, though, over his head. So he's
Yeah.
not in on the joke. See, so what happens is that can alienate fans that don't have 30 years of wrestling in there. And that's what we need to change, hopefully, to get younger fans in the door somehow.
See,
I've
now
actually,
he's getting like the summer of Punk and Cena right now though with that belt of nobody knows who's the champion and what belt's what and everything. He gets to see that right now at least.
Mhm. Yeah, we've got some chaos going on, and I still don't know who. I can't wait to put out a poll on who's going to win that belt. That three-way race is going to be awesome to watch.
For me, I wrote down once again, I loved Bangin' Matthews getting the call to start the show and get the fans into it. Flacco and Hunter have been killing it as of late, and of course, the Bang Bros are top tier when it comes to tag team wrestling and GCW. So I was excited for this one to start the show. I right when you said it too, I winced, not winced, but I laughed because I wrote the same thing. The high paced first match of the night was well done. Good job. The high pacing was perfect. I think to get the crowd into it.
All right. Shit. I was getting ready to start talking about the next one. You could tell it's starting to get late on my end.
Right.
I
All
was like,
right.
all right, let me check my notes.
Our next matchup was Myron Reed going against Jack Cartwheel. Of course, two favorites of mine. Um, I was all into this match, and Myron is just taking GCW. I think, and I could have be right in this one. It could be just the crowd too, or the location. But Myron had all weekend. The crowd was just on his side. I love seeing it, and I think as this match went along, the crowd started getting into Cartwheel, and then we had the drilling chance of Cartwheel versus Reed. So I thought this was an exciting match that once again showcased how unique both of them are, and I am a big fan of both competitors. So this match definitely got me happy.
Yeah, you and I both, man. I love both of these guys here. So this was an 11.5 minute match. Myron had Mance, Sidney Akeem, and now Jack Cartwheel. I like him, and if he shows personality, which we talked about earlier, he could be solid here in GCW again because our fans like personality. This is where a cruiserweight or scramble division would be a great idea. I watched these two and I went, oh my gosh. And Myron would not be in a cruiserweight, but you know what I mean? It just showed the excitement of fast-paced action at GCW and the extent of the talents. Talent. Um, all right. So Jack is, yeah, I know it's a shit burger. You're just going to have to deal with it tonight, Brent. Jack is excited to be there. Fans love him. The Jordan inspired gear is cool. He's got something similar to Jordan's logo on his knee pads. Have you seen that?
Is
It's
that
like,
him doing the cartwheel though? Right? Yeah.
yeah. And I thought that was great. He puts in a ton of work, yet his win-loss record doesn't really show it. Jack's win-loss record isn't too hot. Jack shines, just doesn't always get the win. But seriously, Jack has been there for quite a while. He's practically a regular. He should have maybe picked up a win somewhere. I like Myron's acid kick. Also love the Rascals shout out during the match. I love the burnout he did. It's a rope assisted blue thunder bomb, and I'm a big fan of blue thunder bombs. Jack turning a flame on into a destroyer on the floor. Holy shit, Chance. A beautiful Sasuke special moments later. The last 8 minutes of the match are more tense. The bigger moves are starting to come out. Our winner here was Myron Reed with Captain Crunch for the win. I almost feel like this match should have been the opener because this match made more of a statement. So again, that's just my look on that one.
I could see that too. Like, yeah, because it was just as exciting as the
Yeah,
first one with all the bodies flying over. Yeah, especially Myron Reed getting the heat, getting the crowd onto him would be good. I think I know what you're saying, Jack. Hey, Myron needed to win one of these matches this weekend, though. Like he already lost to Akeem, he lost to Man. It's like he needed to win one in his hometown here in
that's
GCW.
fair.
I know what you're saying though. Like, yeah, we kind of like to put our ones that we see all the time in a little bit more prominent role in wins and
Yes.
losses than what we see with Jack Hartwell, unfortunately. But I think that's just shows the beauty of Jack Hartwell, where he just shines through and gets the crowd reaction behind him and probably gets more fans at the end of the match with the loss than he did going into it. So I enjoyed this match because, yeah, they both killed it, and high level creativity here was the story of this match for me.
And I know it's about 2.5 hours late, but thank you to Effie for rating us earlier tonight. He's always good with doing that for us. And then I I just didn't say anything, and I'm super sorry about that because again, we have a lot of people in here and just now realizing he was part of it there. But
Yeah, I missed that rate too. Yeah.
that's okay, it happens. But yeah, that was a good match though.
All right. Our next matchup is a tag team match, as is the team of the Rejects going against the one called Manders. And this time he's teaming with, as we were mentioning earlier, Cole Radrick. I'll let you go ahead with this one because I got actually quite a bit of notes here.
A nice little Nick Manoa quote here. You know, Murdoch is on his shit when he comes out walking like that. And if you've seen Murdoch 100 times, you know how it is. He's like, just having a good. When Murdoch has been having a great time in the ring, even as a heel. I don't know if it's been a mind change in the last 6 months or what, but you can just see he loves being a heel and he has fun doing it. And again, such a Southern heel. Reed offering a fan a drink from his makeshift water bottle dick before the match started. I thought that was very classy of him. Radrick and Manders were out next. Cole is decked out in his NASCAR jacket. Then he gets a cowboy hat, and to me, the look is complete. The Rejects jumped the bell on this one also. That seems to be their mode of operation. We got split screen action. Murdoch is throwing Cole into his own Smitty poster. I thought that was kind of funny. Also, they plugged the Smitty tournament too, and I thought that was fair to do. I feel like if these wrestlers are going to be on the show and whatnot, and they have a side project which is not pulling away from GCW in any way, I don't see why it doesn't hurt to promote them. That's the platform. I'm also noticing commentary is trying not to cuss. I feel that's another step in the right direction as a company that wants to get more fans overall. Again, I wouldn't have said this shit 10 years ago. I'm just saying, though, if you're trying to fit the mold, fit the mold. Cole with a huge tope crossbody onto Reed. That was awesome. Our winner here were the Rejects with a roll up on Cole and, of course, cheating with a handful of tights. On the way out, Murdoch drops his pants, and so be it. So that was our professional wrestling match of the night for the Rejects, one called Manders and Cole Radrick.
Damn, it was only 6 minutes too. I just realized that. I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I wanted this match to be a little bit more ultra violent, just knowing how good these four competitors have been in death matches, and with, as I was talking about earlier, Manser kind of restoring the violence in GCW as the champion, it would have made this match better in my opinion. I still love the team of Manders and Cole. I didn't even catch the NASCAR jacket with I saw the hat, but not the NASCAR jacket, so that makes sense, and that was a cool for Cole. Cole just feels like everybody's friend. Like he could just fit in with whatever group and just fit right in and be the life of the party there. I enjoy like what his character kind of does in GCW.
I'll step up for him just for a quick second because I know the guy pretty well. He just has a good heart, and he's just a good person, and he has bad and good days like every one of us. And even on a bad day, he'll spend time to show you a smile if he thinks it would make your day better, even if his day's shitty. Like he's the one with the last drop of like water in his canteen, he'll give it to you kind of thing. I stand by that 100%. Like I said publicly, I'll go to bat for him any day. One of the nicest gentlemen you'll meet at GCW, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I continued on with this. I hope he recovers from his injury. It sucks just because same timing as my favorite Jordan. Now next week, yours, Cole. That kind of sucks. And then I wrote down my ring question here. What should they do with that brass ring? But like I said earlier, I wouldn't mind. Just hey, everybody forget about it. You hear that all my friends are dead. That's going to create a scene at the AC. Like, to end
LA.
the show, have like, yeah. Oh no, I think it'd be better in AC. It'd be cool,
Bigger
but better for us. Yeah, in LA. I think you get
better for us.
Too. Yeah, better for us though in LA, but bigger reaction, I think, in AC. I just think that would just be a cool moment for him and everything that he's done. That's for me what I would kind of do with Cole Radrick. Wait till he's cleared, 100% ready to come back and just pop. I just envision it now. Mance Warner, everyone's booing him because he did some bullshit thing to regain it. He could keep his championship. The crowd's all mad, and we're done with Mance. Like, we need someone new. And then all of a sudden, you just hear "All My Friends Are Dead," and the crowd erupted. Cole just coming out with his little look and with the brass ring and everything. I think it'd be a cool moment.
He's got that stare.
Yeah, and he's got like that cool little like stare, the hair kind of like I envision him coming out like the back of his jersey. You see Radrick, and then kind of like he does is like his kind of head turn. He's got like the look. I don't know. I just envision a very cool moment for him.
Follow me. Here's how it works. The music hits. There's a camera behind the curtains, like shooting 10 feet behind the entrance, and you just see Cole step in front of it, and all you see is him wearing the jersey.
Radrick, yep.
Yeah, and then you see him walk through the curtain.
And then the music blares.
Maybe
All
I should have been
dead. The whole crowd's gonna go nuts.
I'd go fucking crazy. Not only live, but also, I mean, dude, there's so many ways to do it. And let's be honest, he's one of the workhorses at GCW. Give the kid a good shot back at it. And I think the only way to bring back somebody that's been a staple for this many years would be a nice surprise. Absolutely. And he deserves it. He deserves the pop.
That's what I said for Jordan too. Like back when he was gone, I wish he would have got a bigger thing on his return here in GCW. Other than he's back for defending the JCW title in the tournament. Like that's how they announced him coming back. I really wished for a bigger moment for him, but that's just our fandoms coming alive there and booking out stuff. But I really think Cole could be. That's just a simple, easy thing that could be a very cool moment and just elevate him. Boom, right there immediately. And I think because that's where I was going with this. Like I wrote, they lost this match, right? Manders and Cole.
Yes.
I remember correctly. Cole's been losing nonstop. Like that's why, and I know I said before, I don't care if he loses because he's got the ring. It's not going to affect any momentum. He could just book himself into whatever scene he wants to with that ring. So he doesn't need these wins, but at some point you got to heat him up to make it even credible for him to wrestle. Cause it feels like he's lost his last like 10 matches. I'm saying every week. I'm so mad that they're not building this up properly, which in my opinion, they could be doing and should be doing, but
well, I guess I'll be going solo for a quick minute here. Oh, there we go. He's coming back in.
My bad. I gotta move this damn back button off my mouse. It's on my mouse. I'm gonna hit back and I'm on the screen. It just shoots me out. Sorry about that. Probably messed up all our numbers again and everything else. I'm going off your numbers here today.
No, we're good. Again, we're still sitting at about 500 right now, so we're doing good. I think I said everything I needed to about this one. I just, I was waiting for you to finish.
Sorry, I don't know. I want more for Cole as I wanted for Jordan too, and I think it's just a cool moment that could be done and easy fix that could do a lot of positive for everyone involved. All right, our next matchup was actually before I even got to the next matchup, we get J Rose coming in and being the ring announcer for these next couple matches, which I love seeing Emil bringing back J Rose. J Rose was one of the GCW announcers before Emil kind of took over it full time. So seeing J Rose back in a GCW ring made me so happy. He brings so much energy and it's infectious for a live crowd. Just being at a live one when he's like, "Hey yo!" He just gets the crowd hyped and excited. So I was really happy to see him back. And as you said earlier regarding the Smitty, I was happy that Prazak and Nick Manoa also were able to sit there and shout out Nap. Oh my God, his promotion.
This is one of those nights, man.
It's Nap.
Naptown.
I know it's Naptown. Yeah, Naptown got to give his promotion a shout out and everything that he does for the indie wrestling scene in Indianapolis, because I know he does like a cool thing with like we have tickets like $5 just to get these kids.
Yeah.
He wants to get the kids into wrestling. So what he's been doing with that Nap promotion is just been awesome to see. And I was, as you said earlier, getting the Smitty a shout out, him getting the shout out to promote that on GCW. I thought was good. And GCW did a really cool job of reposting it and promoting that show for the next night too, to help them get more fans. So once again, as you said, that's what independent wrestling's all about, building each other up, and it doesn't take away from anybody involved. So I wanted to piggyback off that earlier, but I know I'd be doing that now, so just wanted to get that in real fast before we get into this four-way match of Count Noctis, Dex Royal, Morgan Dash, and Rachel Armstrong.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and just echo you real quick. Huge J Rose fan. Excellent energy. I like him a lot. To me, he seems like a very modern announcer.
Naptown All Pro.
I like it a lot.
Sorry.
Naptown Pro?
Naptown All Pro.
Naptown All Pro. Okay.
Yeah.
All right here. Also, a great one said, shout out to Count Noctis, former Vegas guy who's definitely earned this opportunity. All right here. So I'll start with Count Noctis. He ate a group of super kicks that were a touch stiff. I would say I'd like to see his gear and character match a little more, but again, that's me being picky. I figure Count be more Count, but again, he's doing his own thing, and that's his job. Dex Royal has a good look. He looks like a real wrestler. He's the most crazy shooting star press that I think I'd seen in that match. Morgan Dash, like I said earlier, a good mix between Joe Lando, Marco Stunt, and Yo-Yo. Rachel Armstrong, I have her as too green for GCW right now. Either that or we just watched, again, a weekend that just wasn't as hot, and that's perfectly fine because that happens. Again, we don't know the circumstances. What we saw, or what I saw this weekend, I feel like she needs to put in a little more work. And again, that's just me saying it as a fan. And next time GCW comes around, she might just dazzle. I'm not against that. And again, I didn't see everything she had to do in 2 matches. I just saw those 2 matches, and I want to be fair about that. So I've said it many times before. I wasn't a big fan of Isaac Yankem. I love Kane. So just keep working on it. See what happens. Maharaja shows up, attacks Dex Royal. I found a very, very interesting choice. Because of this, we had no winner. This was a no contest. Cardona comes out. He's the only one who brought in the Maharaja. He said, fuck Cardona, chants come out from the crowd. Says he's here to change and save GCW. He's going to bring in real superstars. Okay, stop right there. I like all of this. I think that's what we need. Just like when we had the John Moxley situation, bigger stars are going to create the money and the attention that we need. And if we're going to get that attention, we need to have our shit together. I'm just saying that right now. You know, if we have Moxley come down again, it's going to be a much tighter ship than it was a year or 2 ago. So just wanted to kind of mention that out there. What are your thoughts on this match?
Dex Royal to me was the standout. I wrote he looked really promising. He has a good size, good athleticism. That shooting star press he did to the outside sold me. I'm in. Mm-hmm. Bring him back ASAP. That's all I needed to see. Raj Desi coming back and destroying everyone made sense. That's kind of like no one wins. He's coming in to ruin it all. And I thought it was a good showing by all 4 of them. Nonetheless, as you said, Dex Royal for me was the one like, wow, he stood out. I want to see him back ASAP to see a little bit more because he looked really, really good and promising. Then I got a long ass note for everything that happened after this match that we are covering right now. So I will wait till you're done with yours.
Okay, so I'll finish what happened after that. Effie comes out after Desi starts shitting on the fans. Effie wants a match with him right now. Again, I was liking all of this. Cardona says he can't because Effie is booked for a match next. From behind comes an attack from Blake and Shane, and the bell rang. So we'll stop right there and we'll rewind 5 minutes, and I'm throwing it back to you, man.
When Cardona came out, he sounded like legit pissed at the crowd, which I found just hysterical. He's like, shut the fuck up. Like, let me guys fucking talk. Like, he just he kind of broke his heel character to like really say, shut the fuck up. I enjoyed it. The crowd getting underneath his skin. I think Desi or Raj is going to fit right in with Cardona's group. I love the heel work that he did in that promo. I think he's enjoying cussing a little bit too much here on the independent scene. He's like, he had to get all the F-bombs and everything out of his system. I enjoyed it. Yeah, when your first time able, you're allowed to cuss on a promo. Go for it, get it out of your system. I love that. I kind of wanted, this is earlier, I kind of said this, but it's just part of my notes, so I don't want to mess it all up here. So if I do repeat myself, I apologize.
Nah.
I wrote, I hate to say it, SRS was right when he said that Effie hasn't really done anything since beating Mance, and that's what I have been saying as well. He should have been booked better, but I get it now. They kept him healthy and back with his friends that had his back, which I totally missed. Now in hindsight, looking at it, I now see going back and I see it, which is a cool, like, little piece of him to kind of put that feud together and give his thanks. As I was saying earlier. Um, but now he's in a big feud with the hottest free agent in wrestling right now, and you cannot deny that that's excellent for Effie. It's a big time moment for him. Um, I loved Effie's promo, like I said earlier, calling out Brett, calling out like the behind. They kind of like broke that fourth wall. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? Like, and I loved that little tense or sense of realism with this whole feud, and him bringing that out is awesome. And now it leads, and then yeah, leading into this whole promo, leading into Joey's running into the newly made tag. Oh, I didn't even get there yet, but as we go in there, get to the tag match. I'll pause my nose there because he just keeps on going with everything, and I just piggybacks up everything this weekend. I've been loving everything. They had my attention. They have me not knowing what to expect. I got my own booking style, but fuck, like love being thrown off of the scent. I love being wrong. I love just not knowing what is coming, and that's how wrestling should be. And this is what is happening in GCW right now, and I'm enjoying it.
He said, bah, Raj getting to face Effie is a big deal for Raj. I think it is too. I think to a degree it is. He's getting back on the independent scene. The first, let's just say 5 to 10 matches that he takes on the independent scene probably will dictate him on the independent scene. It may set quite a few things for him rolling in place that he may want or he may not want. So let's see what happens when, Raj rolls through GCW. But again, if it doesn't equate to tickets, it's just another guy coming through after he's been let go, trying his teeth over here, and we'll see what happens from that. I do like the idea that Brett does get these guys after they're directly out, because they're still going to have the most hype available to them to bring into GCW. And I like that a lot. And it's about selling tickets. So let's see what he can do. And the promise that they're going to be bringing more talent to GCW to make it something better. Just saying that gives me a lot of hope. And now I'm looking forward to who may show up.
Yeah, Cardona saying like I'm going to be bringing in the big stars to lead to future possibly other names coming in. That got me like, I was like, what? Say that again? Like we're going to have more people coming in other than just Raj Desi? Like, like there's one name I'm Ricochet. They announced Ricochet at any fucking show. Like if they gets announced to LA this in a couple, I'm going to that one. Like that will get me to go to that LA show coming up here in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to currently, but there are some names out there that if they bring it into GCW, that's like instant grab my attention and go to the show and buy a ticket. No chance Raz as good as this kid.
So what I think Reed is saying here also, or no, what I'm kind of saying in return is I think they're almost two different monsters. Like Raj is this imposing large, and then Sydney, it's like for him, it's the flips and it's the speed. I see what he's saying though. He's kind of comparing him as boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which one could put on a more exciting show? Probably Sydney, because physically he's more capable of doing what fans would consider exciting, the flips and whatnot. So, but when it comes to a WWE style storyline, I would put Raj there before Sydney. So, as long as they basically find the goods and the bads in each wrestler and know how to shine the light appropriately, I think we'll be good.
All right. This, as we were saying, Effie now has a handicap match against Blake Christian and Shane Mercer, as announced by Cardona. Blake and Shane come out, start jumping Effie, and then the match starts. And we have a handicap match for a brief few moments.
All right. So Effie starts getting beaten by both men. There's no help. Fans are booing. It's not looking good for our Effie here. Surprisingly, Janela's music hits. Joey runs out and we have a tag match. Stop right there. They being Prazak had said that Janela was in a airport for over 19 hours to try to get to this show after he just missed the previous show and whatnot. So Cardona, he went ahead and got on commentary, and then he's like, "Who are you?" He was talking to Manoa, saying he doesn't like Effie's hair. I thought was kind of funny too. Cardona finds some really interesting things to say.
Did like the haircut should find
No,
him
no,
for
he's
it.
like, I don't like, yeah.
I love that.
I also wanted to give a little credit here to Blake Christian. He was working his ass off. A tope straight into a Fosbury flop was pretty impressive. Joey says, I need some furniture, baby. Then he grabs a door from underneath the ring and says, I love doors more than Marty Jannetty loves whores. I thought that was totally Janela. Maharaja enters the ring. He was the distraction here. Our winners were Blake Christian and Shane Mercer when they hit a curb stomp on Effie for the win. My thoughts on this one, lots of originals. It was a busy match for veterans, and I loved it a lot. It's nice to see the uncles fighting each other. You know what I mean? Like the higher ups going at it.
Yeah.
And I like this one a lot. 11 and a half minutes here.
Yeah, I just kind of like put together that Joey Janela, kind of the music playing and him kind of running into for the save. That's just like an old school Monday Night Raw segment, like Stone Cold's in the ring getting beat up, and boom, who's gonna save him? Let's hear the Rock's music, and the Rock comes out now, and boom, we get attacked. Like that's what honestly this was feeling for me. Like this was, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna continue with my notes here with this match because, like I said, it kind of bled into this match.
Yeah.
I loved the whole story as we talked about before. It's stories and just matches rolling into each other with no kind of breaks, and the continuous like big segment / match was awesome to see. I loved it. And then like I wrote, this whole story and just GCW for me is getting bigger and more intriguing week after week heading into Homecoming. At this point, I was like, can we get now we're going to have a 4-way ladder match with Roz Desi? Is it going to be a 5-way? Throw in Effie in there. Like this ladder match for me, I was wondering if it's getting bigger. Now I can kind of see it's going to be separated as its own little feud, and the championship match, ladder match is the 3. So, but I just think like a surprising upcoming free agent, a returning person to come that we haven't seen in GCW in a while. There are some names out there that we would like to see kind of come back. Or a brand new name that's never showed up in GCW, or and it's coming from one of these other companies, making a huge shock and kind of recreating the magic of Cardona versus Gage at Homecoming is where I'm hoping this kind of leads to. And like I said, I even wrote here, if I'm being brutally honest, GCW hasn't been this hot since those days. So that's why I'm kind of excited and happy for everything that's happening. Such awesome shows as of late, and I'm enjoying talking about it every week with you, with new guests that we had, Perch, Cartwheel, you had Blake on talking about earlier, and seeing the talent and everybody in the chat talking about it. It's just been very fun and unpredictable times we're in now. And then also, I just thought that was a cool way to start the match, and then Cardona on commentary talking about like, I didn't know this was Joey Janela's going to be here. What the fuck? I didn't know this match was happening. I thought that was hysterical to see. And this match just kind of furthering along the storyline has been an A+ weekend for the whole time. Yeah, this whole note just kind of brought me back to the whole weekend. Yeah.
I don't know how to say more than what you just said. Actually, you covered that better than I did. That's for damn sure. Gosh, what is there else to say? We just have a lot of bad guys and we don't have a lot of good guys right now. So that'll be really interesting. And also we're down another good guy with Cole. So we're down Jordan, we're down Cole. Alec will show up when Alec shows up, but I know he does a lot with the Garbage Daddies. It may be nice to see him back on the single scene, unless he gets paired with someone else. We'll see. But I don't know.
Speedball coming back to kind of help fight GCW would be nice too.
I'm cool. I'm cool with all that. Whoever wants to show up, let's fucking go.
All right. Next matchup of the evening just continues on. Like I said, I'm happy for it. This is one of these matches that I feel like was booked for fans like me and booked for me specifically. Galeno Del Mal versus Arez. And yeah, I'll let you go with your notes here because I do have some notes on this one too.
Sure. I wrote down here, this is a showcase of some of the best lucha stars from Mexico. Both have a noticeable difference in size. Galeno, obviously much larger. Galeno averages over 12 minutes per match at GCW, which is impressive for his age. He's in his early 20s off the top of my head. Arez is always entertaining to me. Big fan of his Pele kick, double threat as a tag and singles match. I love him to be able to do both of those. Galeno hit a nasty rolling clothesline that hit Arez so hard it flipped him, and he landed a little weird on his neck. Galeno ate a lot of double foot stomps in this match. It was almost comical. I don't know how many, but it was more than 5. Our winner here, Galeno Del Mal, with some nasty finisher. Again, I can't name. It looked like a second rope twisting suplex. That's the one that we were talking about earlier. Either way, though, Galeno, Arez, I love them both. They could have just went in the match for 5 minutes, but they gave us 11 and a half minutes. And I felt like I really got to see something to chew. There was something to chew on there. They gave me a real match.
Yeah, that was, of course, me. I'm giant fans of both of them. Like, yeah, this is how I was here. After typing all those notes out on just the Joey and Effie match beforehand, like, I'm just typing that out, like, comment down, like, oh my God, what craziness. Boom, I can see the next match graphic come up is Arez versus Galeno Del Mal. Like, it's never ending for me. So, like, I'm just smiling. I'm happy. Prazak had a good commentary describing Arez and like what his style is and what he's bringing up to this match. I thought was awesome to hear. And then, like, as he's giving this talking Arez, hyping him up, you just now hear Eminem in the background, and then you see this big old monster coming out. And actually went to, like, as Galeno came out and I'm hearing that Eminem song in my head, I heard some lyrics. I had to go check it out. It's like, it's pretty cool. Like, the lyrics are describing this big ass man coming out and now fighting out of this corner. Like, Galeno Del Mal, Arez, everything in GCW is just hitting perfectly. For me right now, it's like literally just the little things are connecting. And I didn't know what to expect from this match other than it was going to be fun. And once again, it over delivered on that aspect. And I want more. Give me more Galeno and Arez teaming up against each other. Any way possible. I love that matchup and want to see more of it. And yeah, I guess this whole podcast is me just praising GCW because I was just riding a super high. And like I said, I'm writing this note just on a super high, and boom, another one of my favorite matchups that I'm looking forward to is on my screen next. So I just constantly was on a high this whole weekend. And
watch out. Watch out, listeners. Brent is bought and paid for by Brett Lauderdale.
Don't question my new TV back there. No, it's not a new TV. It's old. I'm just saying. Don't question it. If I start rolling up in these shows, you start seeing GCW stuff. Thriller right. TV is going to be on my next hat. Thriller TV.
I was going to say tattooed on your forehead. All right. Here. So yeah, this is just another one going back to the Hammerstein show. We just have better talent now, or at least better name recognition and much more entertaining talent, I think might be a way to put it. And again, we always look on the past and we always look on the personalities fondly, but we have to remember every personality is different, and we can't replace anyone. But what we do have here, I think, is a solid roster base than we had for the Hammerstein show. So
yeah. We'll see. Yeah, then my whole booking that I wrote before, like this show, it was last show or this show, like the whole thing I wrote, I had to delete. Like, it literally was leading up into a return to Hammerstein with bigger names and everything like that. And like I said, like, I don't feel like GCW's have felt as hot as it is now to build back up to possibly going back to like justifying a return to a Hammerstein show and have it be a real GCW show this time and not a pay-per-view /
right.
Kind of like it felt like a celebration more than it should have been a step up to the next level. It just kind of felt like
for GCW.
Yeah, that Hammerstein show just felt like, hey, we made it here. Let's enjoy our flowers. Like, I want this go to Hammerstein. It's got to be able, like, this is going to be the Hammerstein show that takes GCW to the next level of what I think that first one should have been. But I get what they were booking a Hammerstein show. You got to celebrate being able to do that and sell out almost before any matches are announced is pretty an incredible feat to celebrate.
Well, I'm just gonna, again, we're late in the show here. I was watching Hammerstein with one of my friends a while back, and they didn't know that at the time Effie's thing was make wrestling gay. Right. Mm-hmm. And Brett came out and said, GCW, we're going to make wrestling gay. And my friend was like, what does that mean? And I go, well, at the time, Effie was, and he goes, but to a bunch of people who have no understanding, what it sounds like is the company came out and said, we have a vendetta, or we have a, and that was really interesting. I never heard anyone say that before, because most fans know, what's going on. They saw the wrestling is gay shirts and whatnot, but I found that really interesting. And I think we're talking about it. Maybe you and I need to go back sometime and review the Hammerstein show.
Yes,
Just like,
that would be a fun
any
one.
other show. Well, it would be really fun because you were there live.
Oh yeah, I guess I don't even have to watch, and I've watched it over like 50 freaking times by myself on Fight TV. Just like I just love.
So
watching
what went wrong and what went right, by your opinion, right? And what do you feel? Because well, we're digging deep again here, and it's already 3 hours in. But I mean, a lot of people say, hey, you know what? Like the GCW stars should have won.
Yeah, if that's what
I
you're
think that's
sitting
a good way
here.
to put it. Ali should have won.
If you're promoting GCW, like literally none of the GCW guys won. So what's the point of having a GCW show when you're just going to get televised network names to come in to boost the exposure, but put those people over and we never fucking see them again. And now these people that we saw in GCW, they lost, and now we see them every week. You're going to have that thought stuck in your head of they lost to this person. I like, even if you just you mix it up just a little bit. I think that for me, what Hammerstein was, what like the actual show was, just like, hey, we made it here. Let's celebrate and just get as much eyes on our thing, but not trying to better or push the product. It was just a spotlight of a name of the product and not what the authentic GCW experience is.
So what you're saying is the Hammerstein show wasn't the Super Bowl. It was the after party.
It was yeah, I guess after party. I would say
hear you.
After party is a better way to explain it. With after party with the celebs names, yes. If I had to actually think, I would say it's not the Super Bowl. It's more like the preseason of, hey, we're gonna give you a taste of Effie, but just for the first quarter, not for all 4 quarters of this kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like he overbooked himself, overthought himself he overthought booking to a point to where he outbooked himself.
I don't think he trusted his instincts and stayed authentic. If he would have stayed authentic, it would have been a way better show. I think he tried to put on a different show to get a different crowd and a different eyes on the product than what the actual eyes on the product were at the time.
And not a lot of people were happy with that. So so next time we need to maybe listen to the fans and kind of, again, with more entertaining talent than we had back then. We have some great talent, great personalities, but I guess when it comes to like bigger money, bigger stars, people who are more entertaining, we have that.
And the people like calling for GCW, everyone said, when are you going to run Hammerstein? I loved his answer. Like, there's no point. Like, we did it that time. Like, when I will run Hammerstein, it's going to make sense. And like right now, like I said, for me and my feeling of GCW is it's just growing and improving. And if we're getting back to where we were for Cardona Gage, which I feel like right now with these names, and it kind of could be, that would justify another Hammerstein show with the new GCW, and hopefully they book it and promote it without having to get these other names from all these other companies. And if so, let them lose once or twice, or let them lose to have it be for GCW, not just have GCW promote AEW and everybody else. Like, that's what I felt it kind of came down to, is like, this is for Jarrett, this is for Ruby Soho, this was like Eddie Kingston was supposed to be there. He was probably going to win too. Like, it would have just been shitting on us and just enjoying names that came to us.
Yeah, Kev said, I have never seen the Hammerstein show on TV. Wow. It's worth watching once, man. There was so much going on there because part of it was a little too indie, and the parts of indie that should have shined and shone, mainly the stars, didn't have a chance to as much. Like, we're trying to shock people with the legless man. That's so fucking indie. Like, if you're trying to get to the next level,
if you go back and watch some of these old school GCW shows, I actually enjoyed like seeing Dustin Thomas come out. I enjoyed seeing Big Vin coming back out. Like during that, even that pre-show Rumble, like some of these names that we haven't seen, I thought was cool to see because what they did for independent wrestling slash a little bit like Dustin Thomas, GCW, like it kind of did do a lot of callbacks of prior names. And I thought it was a good celebration of what GCW and everyone else that had a hand at the beginning of GCW. This was their time to get that moment at the Hammerstein show. That's why we got the Grim Reefers. We got some of these names we haven't seen since early GCW shows, but they got a moment at that Hammerstein show. Like, I think it was just a cool way to give people their flowers instead of showing your product and what you want fans to join your product. Where I think now he learned from that mistake, and hopefully if he ever does book another Hammerstein show, I think it will be completely different, and hopefully it has a GCW feel. That show had zero GCW feel about it until Nick Gage came out at the end.
The Hammerstein, I guess we call it a commercial, the one where they're all standing up there and the one's like, you're a criminal, you're too stupid, you're too that. I thought that was an act until I've had a chance to now meet a lot of these people, and they've been told shit like that before. They were all cast-offs and shit, and you know, that made me love them more.
That video package actually kind of hit me like hard too. Like I could like, especially Cardona, like what for me it was like Cardona, like you don't have this, you don't have that. Yeah, well, guess what? My name kind of helped out do right now with GCW. We just helped do something that no other company outside of WWE / AEW Ring of Honor can do, and we just fucking did it. So like it was kind of like cool. Like, yeah, Jordan, you're too skinny, or like AJ Gray, too fucking stupid. Like, yeah, I could see those. Like I actually felt the emotion and heart when those they were saying that. Like you could tell, like I felt like the pain in their eyes and face and them saying it. Like you feel them recalling that back up, but as a motivational tactic to get them to that point. I thought that video was so cool when they showed that at whatever in AC.
That's the only promo they have that makes me emotional, because I'm like, wow. Imagine being told the person you love is like too fucking dumb to do something they love. Like, that's rough.
Even Vet's promo in the ring after that video showed, and him finally being able to announce it, and him saying like "fuck you" to everybody said we could. Like the emotion was there from everybody, and that's where I feel like I think even the fans, I as a fan, just new fan at that time. I was a brand new fan at that time. Like I just got into the product 2 months, 3 months prior, but I was like watching. Every day I'd watch a GCW show history and catch back up to where we are now live. And like, I've watched every show, but I think as a fan, you just felt like as a fan, we did something. We helped grow GCW to this. Like we all felt like we accomplished something. And then like, I feel like a Hammerstein show just popped that balloon. And why did
and everybody watched it.
Exactly. I sit there and brag about it. Then like, hey, here we go. New fans. Oh, all these people that I talked GCW about these last 3-4 months, they all just got their ass whooped by some name that they know from years past or on TV. And now they're not going to go back and check out anything GCW. I think it was a big shot in the foot, but if any time, I think they're building back up to it right now, in my opinion. And if they just keep this momentum going, Homecoming is a big moment, I think, for them.
Yeah, watching Effie get his shit kicked in by some star from the 90s 20, 30 years later really doesn't do much for the Effie brand or the GCW brand at all.
Yep.
Also telling Jeff Jarrett that, you know, this is how you should do it. It's probably a rough thing to do too.
And Jarrett was able to come in, kick our ass, piss on us, and leave, and like no one cared. Like that was crazy. Top wrestling stuff right there. You can do that when you get high enough up in the food chain. He's like, that ain't for me, brother.
Effie and Allie lost. Yeah, there you go. Take your lovable ones and make them lose. Again, I think they just thought too hard maybe, and what happened was the result we got. It was nice that they did this, but there's a lot. Look, he can be as happy or not what he wants to. Only if the fans are happy can he truly be happy with this one. And I think a lot of the fans say, let's do it again when it makes sense, because we feel that with what we have now, we have a better starting team than we've had before. And I think this is the one we'd like to take to a bigger dance.
And if he has a chance to make up that mistake at Hammerstein, I know Brett will fucking knock it out of the park and like literally push GCW to another. Like I think he like is like, oh yeah, this is what you guys thought last time. Like you guys were maybe right. I'm going to come at you and show you what I really have with GCW. And I just really hope that's the case. And I think they could build up to that. And I'm glad they didn't go to Hammerstein just to go to Hammerstein again. Like they're
Yeah.
making it a special one, and I hope it does turn into something special, and I hope it kind of gets a fair chance to do so, and whatever the stink of the last Hammerstein show doesn't overshadow the future possibility of a Hammerstein show.
Well said. We have 2 matches or 3 matches left, don't we?
Yeah, here we go. I don't have too much notes on those matches. I think
That's okay. I got you covered.
All right. Next match was Zilla Fatu versus Hoodfoot. For me, J Rose's entrance got me hyped. Like him introducing Hoodfoot, and then Zilla with the way he did, I was excited for some violence, some action. I was really hoping for a bloody massacre, but I still got a fun, extreme plunder match from these two, which I thought was a perfect stylistic matchup for those two to have.
So in this one, I felt like the fans were split on both wrestlers, not expecting a technical matchup, but I was expecting brawling. Something about this reminded me about what it looked like if your cousin got fed up with his dad at a cookout and they fought. If you go back and look at the match, it looks like one of your cousins got pissed off at your uncle at a barbecue and decided they were going to fight. I don't know why. Manawa and Prazak having fun calling Hoodfoot Mo and Outless, which are the alternate names of Hoodfoot. Hoodfoot was almost injured. He almost injured himself on one of those hooks sticking out of the ring post, which, man, somebody must have got a discount on ring post, because to actually have the post fucking sticking out on the outside, you had to have gotten a discount on those. That's dangerous.
And I love they called back about how dangerous those were, because that's what busted Billy up that one time.
Yep.
Was one of those that, like, the same exact ring. I think they were saying, like, I thought that was a cool little callback to show you how dangerous that spot could be.
And for now, this is Zilla's style. Hardcore match until he can get more into this technical stuff, and he's doing a damn good job with it. Zilla with a leaping spike. He doesn't go for the pin. Then he hits another, and that was enough to put down Hoodfoot. So our winner here was Zilla Fatu. However, on the way out of the venue, Hoodfoot was getting heavy Hoodfoot chants. So I think everyone here came out happy, but again, we're looking at 2 faces.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it too. Like, those are 2 names. Like, yeah, I just want to see fucking, like, have them 2 fight. Just could have put an octagon around them, and I would have been happy.
Yep.
All right. Our next matchup was Spider Nate Webb going against Broski Jimmy. Once again, Jimmy's little heel promos at the beginning, they always pop me. Anytime he could get heat, I will always pop for that. And the level of heat he's getting is still funny to me. But yeah, I thought this was another crazy, fun, extreme match, and got hardcore as it went along.
So Nate did his entrance. He brought a ladder out. He made everyone sing. Broski Jimmy says local fans look up to him as a hero. He turns to Nate and says, "How's it feel being the old one in the locker room, Nate? All your peers have passed you." And then he literally names off the peers that has passed him and went on to international companies. They fought around the venue. There were chairs. Jimmy delivered a nasty bulldog into a chair propped in the corner. I'll keep it short. Our winner here, Nate Webb, with a perfect moonsault from the top of a ladder. And I do mean the moonsault was perfect. I do feel this match was a little rough on Nate, but he had the fans come in the ring and pose with him at the end, and I thought that was a pretty cool touch. In 10 minutes, Nate Webb.
Yeah, that ladder spot popped me big time. Like, he was way up there on that ladder, and with that chair. As you said, that was a perfect landing, perfect moonsault. I wrote he never lost it, because I know some people are like chanting he still got it. I'm like, he never lost it. He's still doing that ladder spot, or doing that chair spot nonstop. I was happy to see him get the victory, and then yeah, that was kind of cool at the end. I haven't seen that, I don't think, in the wrestling maybe ever. Like, all the fans come running in the ring and celebrate with him in the ring was cool. I could see
not since Public Enemy. Public Enemy was the last one to do it.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I think. Or Sandman. I have to think about it. It's
Sandman's
ECW,
probably,
I think.
Yeah. But Adam Galt trying to get all them out of the ring, I thought was pretty funny. He's like, "Come on, that's too much." And like, I enjoyed it. That was a cool spot. And once again, something we haven't seen. Like for me, it just kept the momentum of like, what the hell is this weekend? Like, I did not expect this weekend to be good, but that's just another memorable moment for this crazy weekend for me. And I thought that was cool that Nate Webb was able to get it. All right. I'll save my question for afterwards.
Cool.
I think I do have a question for you. I'll save it for afterwards.
Okay.
I think it'll be better suited at the end. Our next matchup is the main event, right?
Main event.
Yeah, 3 main events in a row. Mance Warner defending the GCW World Title against Megan Bain, who is on a roll in GCW. I don't mind this. Like she was able to pick up a lot of big wins and get the momentum to get the title shot in such a short time. This booking made sense to me. I know we were talking about Hoodfoot. Like, does that make sense as a championship match? I agree with you. No. Is it going to be a bloody mess that could help Mance further along his case for the World Heavyweight Championship? Yes. So I enjoyed this booking. And of course, with everything Megan, Joey brings to this whole feud, I think just perfectly made sense. Brett, another fantastic booking job on this weekend, and I enjoyed this match. And her coming out selling the eye injury was a cool spot, and I enjoyed her selling the eye patch for sure.
I still think both eyes should be taken out. just go blind. I'm telling you, it's an idea. Mance averaged over 20 minutes a match this weekend. I know I was talking about his overall. He's up there. Highly appreciated Mance from a fan's perspective. Mance attacked Megan from behind with the belt before the match started. She's thrown into the crowd and Mance starts throwing everything he can find into the ring. Megan is getting beaten on for a solid 5 minutes. A fucking spear. A spear gets her back in there. I almost said, I don't know. It's late anymore. She gets put through a door and still kicks out at 2. She got pumped and flipped the chair that luckily got caught on the ropes. It was heading for the fans.
That looked cool though. That looked cool the way it's just stood up there. Yeah, that too.
Lucky. There was a second time she threw a chair too and it hit the thing. But Megan superplex Mance through a door bridge. Holy shit, chance came through the crowd. Blake runs in to attack Megan. Joey runs in to protect her. Blake gets beaten and thrown away. He runs off. Mercer enters. He attacks Joey. Mercer's beating on Bain now. Megan spears Mercer through a door. Here comes Jimmy. Broski Jimmy's in. He's hitting her with a chair. Deathmatch royalty, to me, is just too big to beat. Jimmy accidentally slams a chair into Mance. Megan hits the tombstone. Jimmy pulls out Perch as he's about to count 3. Megan was distracted with Jimmy, and she gets rolled up from behind for 3. Our winner here is Mance Warner. Megan's undefeated snap has come to a close. I felt that this was a very busy main event, and I am satisfied. I feel it's textbook stuff, and that's what works. It was done exceptionally well, and I'm still curious on who is going to show up for the good guys.
Yeah, that was, like I said, all that crazy. I'm all for the chaotic. Like I'm a teacher, like a PE teacher. I call my class crazy. Like we are controlled chaos. Like, yeah, it's chaos. The kids are fucking going nuts, but they know what they're allowed to do. It's just these matches were just chaotic and just nonstop. Who's running in here? Who's running in now? I love that. It's just throw that mess all over. As I've been saying all podcast long, I loved it. Fantastic way to end the weekend. I am on cloud 9. I wrote this. I'm excited for what GCW is doing right now. And just as it gets closer to homecoming, I'm excited. And it's kind of making me now kind of question if I should get last minute tickets to this LA show before homecoming, just because of because they're not going to do nothing. Like, I think right before they go to Japan and then they come back to LA and then they got homecoming like that following weekend. Like, they're going to have to do something in LA, I think, to help further along the stories for homecoming that they're not going to be able to do in Japan. Japan's going to be its own little fucking fun showcase shows out there. I don't think they're going to push any storylines too much out there. I'm not expecting that, but I think LA show is the last chance to do so. And yeah, even talking about it now, I'm getting FOMO of missing out on that show, because I think something further, some cool storyline stuff should happen at that show to further along, get us excited for Homecoming.
So you had a question for me.
All right. And this could go
Boxers.
for the chat too. Anyone in the chat, I want to hear your answers and why.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to win this ladder match and why? Mance, Joey, or Blake?
Mance is running so hot right now. I don't want to see him end, at least right now.
That was me.
I think there's always time for Joey. Joey's going to be around, or at least for the foreseeable future, he'll be around. And I feel like Blake had a year with his run. So I feel like giving him another one would be redundant. And I wouldn't exactly know what he would do different that we hadn't already seen. So I feel like Blake for sure is out of it. I feel it's down to Mance and Joey. And for me, I think it's going to be Mance. It just makes sense. The only way it wouldn't be Mance is maybe if Effie gets involved and, helps Mance lose somehow.
I'm right there with you. After this weekend, and Mance won me this weekend. If this is the GCW that Mance is going to be providing our main events, 3 main events, 3 different opponents, very high quality, high intensity matchups, crowds into it. The crowd wants fucking Mance to die. But they love him too. Like as soon as if it goes against him and Blake, they're going to cheer for Mance. I'm sorry. I think like Mance is just the one person that's like could be the Stone Cold. You want him heel, he could go heel. You want him to be the biggest face, he could be your biggest face. But right now, as a heel, he's killing it. But down the road, you could switch this act up and twist it the other way, and it's going to work just as good. But this weekend for me was what solidified it. I'm digging this Mance run, bringing the old school main event bloodbath to GCW every weekend is what I miss and what I've been asking for. The crowd is hot every night, and like I said, if this weekend is any indication, Mance is my choice for GCW. I know last week I said Blake, and I enjoy Blake, and now his kind of looks like his character kind of opened up a little bit. He's able to talk a little bit more now on the microphones, during commentary, and in the ring. That's something we were missing during that run. Like you let him talk the whole time, he's not champion. They all hated him. He becomes champion. You don't let him fucking talk no more to further along this. I think he got his shit end of the stick, but I think he's starting to find his little role in this thing, and he's changing it up. I think to put himself back in that conversation to be GCW World Champion.
Yeah, Mance right now is just quality. I don't have a better way to put it. It's just when he goes out there, you're going to get a story. I know that matters too, but everybody tells a story in the match, but you get a full story. You walk away with a full belly at the end of the night from a Mance Warner main event, and it doesn't matter who it is. And again, that's a great indicator of somebody who's doing it right. Is that when we always say it doesn't matter who it is. This happens with Janela, happens with Mance. Doesn't matter who it is. They're going to pull a great match out of them. Just trust in those two. They're going to pull a great match. That's where Mance is now. And I love to see this. Yeah, right now, I mean, he's the flag bearer, and I think he's doing a damn good job with it. And I don't know how long it continues because someone has to step up eventually, but it feels like unless you have a crew of 5 or 6, you're going to have a hard time stepping to deathmatch royalty. So that's why I say I wonder how that's all going to gel together. But like I said, Jordan's down, Cole is down. That's a couple really strong friends that he has in his crew that always stood up for him. So we'll see where that goes. But I wonder if the injuries sideline things a little bit, and if it will possibly sideline things more. Is my next question. Either that, or he's going to have to get out and bang a Matthews to be on his side. You know what I mean? So. The biggest pain here is, I was thinking,
bring Los Macizos for backup.
Could you imagine if Macizos go to deathmatch royalty? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Do that.
I know.
Actually, they're getting big enough as it is. Like they don't need more. But I would love to see an ultra WWE, like sports entertainment group that's so anti. I've been asking for this. So anti GCW. Like just have I want that struggle of GCW fighting and away from these people. But you could always insert new people that come in that are outsiders and always still have that struggle. But I think that's what the struggle is right now. And for me, as someone as a world to pick somebody for the world champion, man. Like, yeah, Mance definitely definitely won me over this weekend. Like, not, and it's no shot on Blake. Blake didn't get the same opportunity that Mance has, but I also think in this short time, Mance has had way more opportunity to deliver what he wants from a GCW World Championship holder or champion. That's something Blake, I don't think, got the fair shake that Mance is getting right now.
I think they were thought about in two different ways. I feel like Blake had more like, I'm going to do A and B. And I feel like with Mance, he said, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D, come back to A. If you don't like it, go back to C again. And I feel like he's playing a little more higher level chess. And I only think that maybe because the age difference. I think that Blake, as he matures, is going to be able to play more of the, the 4D chess kind of thing and kind of get into that. But Blake's run kind of felt like a first run or a second run. And this run that we have right now with Mance, I mean, it's just, you can see the influence. He kept saying WCW. I mean, there's totally WCW there, all the way down to the heel work. And I'll be honest with you, and I'll still stick to it to this day. If he didn't get down there with the fans and fuck with them before he come out, they just love him. He has to go out there and set the tone that I'm an asshole, because if he don't set that tone, they're going to stone cold him. And it's nothing wrong with that either.
That's what I was kind of saying too. Like in LA, like if it's just you put him and Blake, like that's easy. Blake's going to be the heel, Mance's going to be the face, no matter what happens there, man. Like anything Mance does is going to get cheered on, even though he wants to get booed. It's not going to work against Blake. But he's been, as you said, been doing these things to make sure that he gets that heat no matter what. And that's, I think, what's setting him apart right now. And obviously, like, he's just on another level all throughout wrestling. And it's cool to see. Like I said, this weekend, for me, like, Mance was the MVP. Like that if he restored the old school GCW film. I know it's came out probably plenty and I overboard on this podcast. And everyone probably think I'm acting
not at all.
He brought the old school GCW vibe for me from this weekend. And that's what I want going forward. And if he's going to be that one, I definitely want to have him be the one representing GCW.
I can't say it better than that. I agree with you almost wholeheartedly this time.
Right?
No, I don't see a better champion right now as effective. Even if Effie took this right now, he wouldn't be as effective. He wouldn't be able to be as disruptive. He wouldn't be able to swallow half a show. Or maybe he could, and I'm just not that creative. But what's going on with Mance right now has been created in the past 8 months or so, and it's just created a monster. And then you add the GM with him. Holy crap.
Yeah, just I think Cardona is doing a lot of cool stuff, even not being active. He's imprint and everything that's going on, and it's been cool to see.
That's the other thing though, is Cole may get a hold of Cardona and just go, hey man, I'm injured. I got time to think. Let's talk about maybe something I can do.
See, that's why I was kind of hoping with Jordan, like if his injury, like, hey, be on commentary. When he was on commentary for that Nick Wayne match, I don't think it was during the J Cup or during one of these shows. Like, he was awesome. Like, he was actually pretty good on commentary. And like, I would like to see him, Cole, like, still be able, if possible, not knowing the surgeries and travel, blah, 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 but still show up and be there in Alec Price's corner, or Jordan show up and talk shit on commentary while Mason is in a match. Still, like, have them be in our heads, in our faces, and on our eyes. Actually, I take that back. Cole, I think, would be better. Go back there. Cole would be better to stay away and just have a very cool surprise pop moment. That would be very cool. But I think Jordan could be doing, I don't know. I'd like to see the Cardona, what he's doing. Like, you can't be active, but you can still have an impact and still be a part of the show and contribute something. And I hope Cole gets that opportunity during this time away. I hope Jordan gets that opportunity. I always just enjoy being able to take advantage of that downtime and still doing something to your character work.
If JCW was more active, I'd put Jordan as a GM or some type of on JCW. Now, the other thing I would do, possibly, if not a GM, I would just play up that, Masha, I'm coming for you. I've been injured for the longest time. I was injured when you beat me. I'm not going to be injured anymore, and it's only a couple months. And then, maybe he uses some of Young, Dumb, and Broke to do some bidding for him until he comes back.
Yeah,
Just an
that'd be
idea.
good.
It's just an idea. Yeah, because then he'd still stay as the threat. Or, of course, he could just be GM and do what Cardona does. So
Fuck it all
nobody
up.
can do what Cardona does. It's very interesting. All right, I think we did that shit, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I got all my happiness of this weekend out in 3.5 hours. As I told you before too, like I was happy with this weekend, and I knew I had a lot to talk about. And yeah, I still happy as can be. A+ weekend, A+ shows. I loved all 3 of them, and excited to what's coming up here, Homecoming.
Well, there's 529 of us in here. It is approaching 3 a.m. in the morning, which is fucking fantastic. So we love you guys for that. Next weekend, let me just go ahead and let everyone know what's going on the next GCW show. So for our next upcoming show, we only have one going on here. That is Saturday, July 28th. It's GCW Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 11 from the Roulette Intermediate in New York, New York. So we have a couple matches here I'm going to announce real quick. We have Jody Threat versus Masha Slamovich, Timothy Thatcher versus Josh Woods, Miyu Yamashita versus Shayna Baszler, Homicide versus Mike Santana, Mike Bailey versus Akira, Tom Lawler versus Brutus Creed, Matt Mikowski versus Julius Creed, and Charlie Dempsey versus Royce Isaacs. That is going to be fun as hell. Any thoughts on that good stuff there?
I'm excited. I think I'm more excited to see Bloodsport on its own. Like, actually, I got to go back and that just reminds me. I now know what I'm watching tonight. I'm going to go watch the one that happened about a month ago in Japan with Rampage and Suzuki and all that. Like, all my guys, like my favorite, like that. I think that's now on Fight TV. I think it's been a month, so that it's now part of the Fight Plus or Triller Plus. So I am going to go back and watch that. But I want to just see how it holds on its own as a show without the collective around it. And as a standalone show, I want to see if this is, hey, in 2 months, do I want to see another Bloodsport, or 3 months, do I want to see another Bloodsport? And are we going to mix up these names? Are we going to get some new names? Loving all these NXT, WWE guys they're bringing. That's just awesome. We got Speedball Impact on here. We got Homicide. Like, we got so much talent from all these different companies. And I think that's what I love about Bloodsport. But that's the one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing it. If it holds up by itself. This is like a big test for it.
I'm going to be interested in watching it. I've told people before, I'm not the biggest Bloodsport fan. People are going to hate me after this. I'm just not. And I think why is because they strip away the flips, all the exciting stuff, and it's just down to grappling. And that's okay if it isn't.
I hope we get better finishers than Collective Weekend. That's
Correct.
the one thing I hated about Bloodsport this last year was some of these finishes were very questionable in my eyes. And I love Bloodsport, and like some of these ones I was like, didn't grip me.
It did not have the same spirit as it did last year when we watched it. And either they struck lightning and they're just trying to hit it again, or they have something special. And this card looks fucking good. So yeah. I'm thinking it should be really good, but who the hell knows? Yeah, I think we did the damn thing. We're okay. So just for fun, Body Slam says do an hour. What do we do?
Yeah. This 3 hours, 40 minutes.
But our last 2 episodes have just been this. This is just what it is. We start talking and then we go. And then of course, when we have all these listeners in here, that's really awesome.
Next week's show will probably be a lot shorter than this one if we just have to cover.
We'll be talking though.
Yeah,
we'll be talking.
We'll figure it out. I don't know. Maybe a short episode would be kind of nice, so then we could get back on it. We'll see.
That's an idea too. We'll figure it out. Yeah. All right. Well, we got over the upcoming. We got through 3 reviews. We did it, man. Thank you so much to everybody who listened. Thank you so much to everybody who had decided to come out here and just spend 2 a.m. with us.
Right? Yes, that was a fun one. But yes, thank you everyone. Jonathan, Frank, Kev, great one. Fire J, Frank, what's some other name? Reed, Kev, appreciate you all. Thank you guys all for stopping in and hanging out. All the FE Twitch raid earlier. Appreciate that again. And yeah, that was a very, very long and fun episode though.
Thank you so much, guys. You're the best.
Yes. All right, let's send him out of here.
This is always so stressful. Oh, it's more stressful if it's just me. He must have just hit the button again. So I'll just wait a second to see him come back. If not, up there we go.
Get out of here first, man. Come on. Why'd you bring me back here? I was like, get out of here.
We never
get the hell out.
we never get the order right, do we?
Yeah. All right, here we go.
All right.
Ready?
As ready as it gets.
Long.
Oh,
I think we got a delay now.
Live.
G
C
C W.
Have a good night.